Chapter 3004. Momo did not take him seriously at all. Even though he was furious, Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Master Yi, please tell me. I want to be the city lord of Zonglong City." Yi Mo's face turned cold. "What about me? Be my deputy city lord." How could he not be angry? Even so, Xiao Fan did not dare to say anything. After all, Yi Mo's identity was there. Even if this matter was reported to the Domain Masters Alliance, it would probably end up like this. "Brother Xiao, I know I'm being a little reckless, but I can promise you that this is only temporary. If I wanted to be the city lord forever, I would have done so many years ago. After all, I was the one who gave you the city lord position." Xiao Fan hated this the most. "Okay." Xiao Fan did not say anything else and agreed directly. In the chaotic Dantian, Longao's aura was very weak. Although he did not die, he was still unconscious. Xiao He tried countless methods but still could not wake Yi Mo up. As time passed, Xiao He became more and more worried. "Boss, what's wrong with you?" Burning the primordial spirit meant certain death. However, Longao's situation was very special. The chaotic nine-colored lotus had fused with the primordial spirit and formed an immortal primordial spirit. Even if he burned his primordial spirit, he did not really die. It was just that no one knew what kind of situation Longao was in. It was very helpless. Just a month later, the primordial spirit in Longao's body was actually slowly recovering. Xiao He was extremely surprised when he sensed that Yi Mo's primordial spirit was getting stronger and stronger. He had never seen such a thing before. Not only did Yi Mo not die after burning his primordial spirit, but he also gradually recovered. Longao's luck was really good. The main reason why he did not die immediately after burning his primordial spirit and even began to recover was that the 9-revolution chaos technique had successfully broken through to the 7th revolution. If not for the 7th revolution, Longao would have probably entered the reincarnation cycle even if he did not die. Even so, Longao wanted to recover his primordial spirit. It was not something that could be done overnight. Xiao He did not continue to waste time. While guarding Yi Mo, he refined the inheritance and successfully broke through to the Divine King realm. The chaotic realm was divided into 99 heavenly domains, lower 33 heavenly domains, middle 33 heavenly domains, and upper 33 heavenly domains. The difference between the low heaven domain and the middle heaven domain was huge. The difference between the middle and upper heaven domains was just as great. The Thunder Heavenly Domain was one of the upper 33 heavenly domains. It was considered a mid-tier heavenly domain. Thunder Heavenly Domain, Thunder City. The domain chief's manor was located in Thunder City. The domain lord of the Thunder Heavenly Domain, Jiyu Hao, was Shenyuan Bubai's disciple. It was also because of Jiyu Hao that Shenyuan Bubai had fallen. Today, Thunder City was exceptionally lively. It could be said to be a sea of people. Almost all of the Upper Heaven region's domain lords and the various city lords had arrived to congratulate Jiyu Hao. After tens of thousands of years of closed-door cultivation, Jiyu Hao finally broke through the bottleneck and became a super expert. Not to mention the others, even the domain lord of the first Upper Heaven region came to congratulate him. Since then, Jiyu Hao's name resounded throughout the entire Primal Chaos Realm's 99 heavens. Inside the domain chief's manor, Jiyu Hao finally sent everyone away, and could not suppress the joy in his heart. "Old bastard, you saw it. Even without your help, I, Jiyu Hao, would still be able to reach such a realm. Even if you were at your peak, you wouldn't be able to compare to me. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha." Jiyu Hao was furious in his heart, because until now, he still hadn't found Shenyuan Bubai's corpse, and hadn't even found the inheritance. At this moment, "Sir, I just received news that the Shenyuan sword has appeared." "Speak." Jiyu Hao was overjoyed. What he was most concerned about was Shenyuan Bubai's inheritance, and now that the Shenyuan sword had appeared, he knew very well what that meant. "My lord, it's like this. This person didn't dare to hide anything. He told Lin Li everything that he had heard without hiding a single word." Zonglong Sky Region. A day later, Jiyu Hao appeared in Zonglong City, and with a single step, He had already entered the city lord's manor. Yi Mo and Xiao Fan immediately came out to meet him. The two of them knew very well what Ji Yu Hao meant. Not to mention Ji Yu Hao's identity, just Ji Yu Hao's strength was not to be underestimated. Brother Yi, Brother Xiao, there's no need to be so courteous. Brother Yi, your father went to the Thunder Heavenly region a few days ago, but you didn't go. I really can't take care of it. Yi Mo was originally going to follow his father to the Thunder Heavenly region, but because of the matter with Longao, how could he possibly go? Although Longao had already fallen, the secrets on Longao's body and the heaven-swallowing beast still did not make any movements. As for whether Yi Mo would go or not, Ji Yu Hao did not care at all. What he was most concerned about was only Shenyuan Bubai and the Shenyuan sword, and immediately said, I heard that a person has appeared in your heavenly region. Longao, do you know him? Ji Yu Hao did not know about the general situation. Yi Mo's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that there was a relationship between Longao and Ji Yu Hao? Probably not. Thinking of this, Yi Mo didn't hide anything and roughly explained what had happened before. Longao was already dead. Of course, Yi Mo did not tell anyone about the heaven-swallowing beast. What kind of joke was this? If Ji Yu Hao knew about the heaven-swallowing beast, then the matter could be big or small. If Ji Yu Hao really interfered in this matter, then he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Brother Ji Yu, I wonder why you are looking for Longao? Until now, Yi Mo and Xiao Fan still did not know why Ji Yu Hao was looking for Longao. Were the two of them enemies or friends? If the two of them were friends, then things would be troublesome. Longao killed my master. If I don't kill him, I swear I won't rest. Since he's already dead, then the matter is settled. First, I want to ask, have you seen the sword in Longao's hand? Sword? I have. Where is it? I don't know. When I came back, Longao's corpse was already gone, and I didn't get his things either. Ji Yu Hao did not doubt what Yi Mo had said, because in his opinion, even if Yi Mo obtained the Shenyuan sword, he would definitely take it out. The other party would not offend him for a sword, let alone Yi Mo. Even Yi Mo's father would not dare to casually provoke him. Ji Yu Hao did not care about Longao's life and death at all. The only thing he cared about was Shenyuan Bubai's things and inheritance, and he was very angry in his heart. Back then, he was still a little soft-hearted, otherwise, there wouldn't be endless trouble in the future. Brother Ji Yu. Of course he knew what Yi Mo wanted to say, so Ji Yu Hao said, I will stay here for a period of time, until I find Longao's corpse. Chapter 3005. Yi Mo was very unhappy in his heart. However, with Ji Yu Hao's identity and strength, even if Yi Mo was extremely unwilling in his heart, he could only nod his head and agree. Brother Ji Yu, please. The three of them wanted to find Longao's corpse, but the current Longao was inside the primal chaos Dantian, and no one was able to step inside. 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. Longao's primordial spirit had more or less recovered. The burning of his primordial spirit this time had caused too much damage to his body. After waking up, Longao sighed deeply in his heart. Burning his primordial spirit to forcefully increase his strength, but he still did not succeed in killing Yi Mo. He might as well kill Yi Mo first and let the heavenly phantom wolf go. It was truly a helpless matter. Boss, how do you feel? Seeing that his boss had woken up, Xiao Hei was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. Not bad, it's just that my primordial spirit is a bit troublesome. However, as long as I can comprehend the peak of the divine punishment, my primordial spirit will be able to recover to its peak state. The current Longao had only comprehended the 7th stage of the divine punishment. If he wanted to comprehend the peak of the divine punishment, one could imagine how difficult it would be. Burning his primordial spirit to increase his strength, Longao had personally experienced the power of the peak of the divine punishment. They were not on the same level at all. Boss, then what should we do now? Zonglong City. Although his strength had not regressed, the damage to his primordial spirit was too great. Longao had no choice but to break through to the early stage Divine King realm, and in the following time, he had to grasp the spatial ability as quickly as possible, and continuously increase his strength. Zonglong City. 10 years had passed, but Ji Yu Hao still had not left. After all, 10 years of time was just a blink of an eye for a warrior. It was just that within 10 years, he still could not find any traces of Longao. City Lord's Mansion. At this moment, Xiao Fan was already the Vice City Lord, so he was very unhappy in his heart. However, due to the power behind Yi Mo, he did not dare to say anything. If he had the chance, he would have immediately killed Yi Mo. Regarding the abdication of the City Lord, Zonglong City was extremely shocked. Even now, discussions could still be heard everywhere. Longao, who had just stepped into Zonglong City, had already heard about the City Lord's mansion. It was a lousy tea shop. "Brother Xiao, please have a seat." Seeing Longao sitting in front of him alive, Xiao Fan was shocked to the extreme. How could he survive after burning his primordial spirit? This was simply inconceivable. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Suppressing the shock in his heart, Xiao Fan sat across from Longao and said, "I really didn't dare to imagine that you could survive after burning your soul." He didn't ask any questions. It seemed like Longao had some kind of secret technique that allowed him to burn his primordial spirit to increase his strength. How heaven-defying was this secret technique? What Xiao Fan didn't know was that the reason why Longao didn't die was because his primordial spirit had fused with the chaotic 9-colored lotus flower. No one else could do it. "Brother Xiao, why did you give up the position of City Lord?" He didn't want to talk about himself. How could Xiao Fan not know? When he heard Xiao Fan mention the position of City Lord, his face instantly turned gloomy. He said coldly, "Yi Mo used his father to snatch the position of City Lord from me. I'm only the Deputy City Lord now." Longao and Yi Mo were sworn enemies. Xiao Fan didn't hide anything from them. In fact, many people knew that Yi Mo was definitely furious that he was snatched away from the position of City Lord. Yi Mo's father. Longao didn't know who Yi Mo's father was. However, since Xiao Fan was so afraid of Yi Mo's father, it seemed like Yi Mo's father wasn't simple. Yi Mo's father is called Yi Detian. He's an elder of the Domain Lords Alliance. Many years ago, he successfully broke through to the peak Divine Emperor realm. However, I heard that Yi Detian had successfully broken through the bottleneck and comprehended the power of time. Divine Emperor? Longao had always guessed that divine emperors weren't the pinnacle existences in the chaotic world. It seemed like divine emperors were existences above divine emperors. Everyone knew that the power of time was above the power of space. "Brother Xiao, I don't know much about divine emperors. Please tell me." Xiao Fan wasn't surprised at all. He immediately said, "Above divine emperors is divine emperors. After reaching divine emperors, one can control the power of time. I believe you should know that the power of time is above the power of space." Xiao Fan nodded. Above divine emperors are the even more powerful divine emperors. Divine emperors are able to create time domain, including time advance, time rewind and time prohibition. The leader of the Domain Lords Alliance is a powerful divine emperor. As for Yi Mo's father, Yi Detian, he should be a divine emperor. As for what level of divine emperor he is, I don't know. Xiao Fan was shocked. So there were divine emperors and divine emperors above divine emperors. If Yi Mo's father was really a divine emperor, then things would be troublesome. However, even so, he had to kill Yi Mo. Brother Long, do you know the Domain Lord of the Lightning Domain? Lightning Domain? Ji Yu Hao suddenly came to Zonglong City 10 years ago, saying that he has a grudge against you for killing his father, and wants to take revenge on you. He hasn't left yet, so he stayed in the City Lord's mansion, and will only leave after he finds your corpse. Ji Yu Hao? Lightning Domain? Longao was obviously not unfamiliar with the Domain Lord of the Lightning Domain, Ji Yu Hao. In the future, when his cultivation reached a certain level, he would definitely head to the Lightning Domain to look for Ji Yu Hao. However, he never thought that Ji Yu Hao would suddenly come to look for him. Longao could not understand how Ji Yu Hao knew about him. Could it be the Shenyuan sword? Other than the Shenyuan sword, he really could not think of any other possibilities. If that was really the case, then it would be a bit troublesome. No matter what, with his current strength, how could he be a match for Ji Yu Hao? Xiao Fan, What is Ji Hao's current strength? According to Master Shen Yuan, if nothing unexpected happened, Ji Hao should be a high-level divine emperor. However, after so many years, he would not believe that Ji Hao did not have any breakthroughs. Could it be that Ji Hao had really broken through to the peak divine emperor? Just 10 years ago, Ji Hao finally broke through to the peak divine emperor realm. From there, he grasped the power of time and advanced to become a divine emperor ranker. Sure enough, he was worried that Ji Hao's cultivation would break through to the divine emperor realm, and now that it was true, he had to admit that Ji Hao was indeed a genius. If that was the case, even if he could become a divine emperor warrior, he would not be able to kill Ji Hao to avenge his master. There is a grudge between Ji Hao and me. It's not that I killed his father, but that he killed his own master, who is also my master. Chapter 3006. So that's how it is. Xiao Fan did not ask about the grudge between Longao and Ji Hao. Even if he had said so much to Longao, he and Longao were not friends. Between Longao and Yi Mo, he still did not know who to choose. If it was before, Xiao Fan would definitely choose Yi Mo without hesitation. After all, Yi Mo had a hierarch expert behind him, and Longao was just a small divine king warrior. The difference between the two was too great. They were not on the same level. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao could actually survive after burning his primordial spirit. It was simply a miracle among miracles. If he did not see it with his own eyes, he would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. Brother Long, what are you going to do next? Kill Yi Mo. If possible, kill Ji Hao along the way. He was not surprised at all, because Xiao Fan had already guessed that if it was not to kill Yi Mo, the other party would not come to Zonglong City. Madman. A complete madman. If it was anyone else, they would definitely not dare to do this. Only Longao, this madman, was not afraid of anything. Brother Xiao, it is not enough for me to do this alone. I hope you can help me. Similarly, Xiao Fan was not surprised, but he did not say anything. It was a joke. If he took a wrong step in this situation, then it would be a mistake. Brother Xiao, as long as you are willing to help me, I can help you break through to peak divine emperor. Why should I believe you? He did not put Longao in his heart at all. If Longao could help him break through to peak divine emperor, then why was he only in divine king realm? How could Longao not know what Xiao Fan was thinking? He sneered. This time, he came prepared to borrow Xiao Fan's power to deal with Yi Mo, to kill with a borrowed knife. Xiao Fan, this two-faced person, had to be used, and could not be sincere friends. A mid-divine emperor could control space. If he wanted to reach high divine emperor and peak divine emperor, he could only control space to advance and retreat. It was easy to think about it, but it was difficult to do it. Xiao Fan smiled. Longao took out a beast core from his bosom. It was the grade 6 divine beast Heavenly Phantom Wolf's beast core. Originally, Longao wanted Blackie to swallow this beast core. However, he didn't think that Blackie would be able to smoothly break through to the 5th level after swallowing the energy of numerous god kings. He didn't even need to use this beast core. This is... Exactly. Xiao Fan naturally knew what the Heavenly Phantom Wolf's beast core meant. But you have to know. The Heavenly Phantom Wolf was a level 6 divine beast. If he could consume this beast core, it would be of great help to his cultivation. There was no such thing as a free lunch. On one side was a level 6 beast pill, and on the other was dealing with Yi Mo and Ji Hao. How should he choose? Brother Long, do you think I'll agree to help you just for a single beast core? Xiao Chen sneered in his heart. What a cunning old fox. Brother Xiao, Yi Mo has been suppressing you at all times. There is no need for me to say anything more. I believe you know this better than I do. If nothing unexpected happens, after Yi Mo completely stabilizes his position as the city lord, his next target will be you. He will eliminate all future troubles. Cut the weeds and eliminate all future troubles. Xiao Fan's heart was gloomy to the extreme. How could he not know what Longao meant? Not to mention Yi Mo, even if it was him, if he had the chance, he would definitely get rid of Yi Mo. There was no doubt about that. You don't need to worry about Ji Hao. As long as you can help me kill Yi Mo, then this beast core will be yours. Furthermore, in the future, you will be the domain lord of the Zonglongtian region. With the beast core and the position of domain lord, Xiao Fan's heart began to move. However, once this matter was leaked out, the consequences would be unimaginable. At that time, once Yi Dietian descended, not to mention himself, even 10,000 of him would die without a doubt. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Longao did not say anything else, but quietly waited. He had already said it to such an extent, whether Xiao Fan would agree or not was all up to the other party. Even if the other party did not agree, he could still find someone else. Silence. Neither of them said anything else. What if Yi Dietian finds out about this? In any case, the grudge between Yi Mo and I is already irreconcilable. Even if Yi Dietian finds out about this, so what? In the future, when I am strong enough, Yi Dietian will not need to come to find me. I will naturally go to the Domain Lord Alliance to find him. Longao had already thought it through. With his current strength, even if he borrowed the power of the outside world, he would not be able to deal with Yi Dietian and Ji Yu Hao. Right now, he only had one mission, and that was to kill Yi Mo. As for the other two, he would wait until he was strong enough to make a move. How do you want me to help you? He was a beginner Divine Emperor, but Yi Mo was a mid-level Divine Emperor. The difference between the two of them was an entire level. It did not seem like a big difference, but in reality, it was very big. Beginner Divine Emperors could only control the spatial domain, while mid-level Divine Emperors could control the spatial imprisonment. You and I will each make a primordial spirit oath. In that case, you should first swallow this level 6 Divine Beast core. If nothing unexpected happens, you should be able to control the spatial imprisonment very quickly and become a mid-level Divine Emperor. At that time, you and I will join hands and set up a trap to kill Yi Mo. It won't be difficult. A primordial spirit oath was binding even for Divine Emperors. Xiao Fan did not really want to help Longao, so how could he be willing to make a primordial spirit oath? Xiao Fan smiled and said, "A primordial spirit oath. That's not necessary, right? Then I will take my leave first. When Brother Xiao thinks it through, contact me." Longao did not wait for Xiao Fan to react. He had already stood up and left quickly. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. Xiao Fan's face looked very ugly. It would be a lie if he said that he was not tempted. After all, he knew very well what a level 6 beast core meant. If he could swallow and refine a level 6 beast core, he might be able to use this opportunity to break through to the high-level Divine Emperor level, or even the peak of the Divine Emperor level. It was just that the price he had to pay for a single rank 6 beast core was too high. It was so high that he could not accept it. If he failed to deal with Yi Mo, he would definitely be hunted down by Yi Mo. Even if he succeeded, no one would be able to protect him. This matter could not be leaked out. Once it was leaked out, he could imagine the consequences. For the time being, Xiao Fan couldn't make a decision. After leaving, Longao did not leave Zonglong City. No matter if Xiao Fan agreed or not, he had to think of a way to kill Yi Mo. As for Ji Yu Hao, it was still the same. In the future, when he was strong enough, he would clean up the sect. Chapter 3007. Boss, do you think Xiao Fan will agree with us? I don't know. Longao didn't like Xiao Fan at all. If it wasn't for his strength, he wouldn't have bothered with him at all. Xiao Fan was a typical opportunist. As long as it was beneficial to him, he would betray anyone. It's better to rely on ourselves. Even if Xiao Fan agrees with us, I'm afraid he won't help us sincerely. So we'll do it ourselves. Xiao Hei was very excited. It was a good thing to be able to kill a Divine Emperor expert. However, it wasn't easy to kill a Divine Emperor expert with his strength. What should he do? Domain Lord's Mansion. Ji Yu Hao and Yi Mo sat quietly in the main hall. Their faces didn't look good. After 10 years, they still couldn't find Longao's body. Brother Yi, I still have some things to do, so I'll leave first. If there's any news about Longao's body, inform me immediately. No problem. Take care, Brother Ji Yu. Goodbye. Ji Yu Hao left as soon as he said that. He knew very well that it wouldn't make much sense for him to stay. Longao was already dead. As long as the Shenyuan sword appeared again, it wouldn't be too late for him to come back. As soon as Jiyu Hao left, Xiao Fan walked in. "Brother Xiao, where have you been?" Yi Mo had always looked down on Xiao Fan. In his opinion, Xiao Fan was a little sinister. However, due to Xiao Fan's strength, Yi Mo had never made a move. However, he had already decided that he would find a way to get rid of Xiao Fan after some time. "I had some personal matters to settle." "Brother Jiyu, have you left?" "Just left." Both of them were old foxes with ulterior motives. "Longao's body hasn't been found yet. We can't go on like this." Xiao Fan smiled helplessly and didn't say anything. Longao wasn't dead. "It would be strange if you could find him." Xiao Fan didn't tell Yi Mo that Longao was looking for him because he knew that if he really said it, Yi Mo wouldn't believe him no matter if it was related to Longao or not. Once Yi Mo didn't believe him, he would definitely think of ways to get rid of him. There was no need to find trouble for himself. "Brother Xiao, I'm preparing to make a trip back to the Domain Lord's Alliance. Why don't you come with me?" His heart thumped. What did Yi Mo mean by this? Xiao Fan wasn't a fool. Why would Yi Mo drag him to the Domain Lord's Alliance for no reason? If he really went, wouldn't he be unable to return? The Domain Lord Alliance was the strongest power in the Chaos Dimension. 95% of the Domain Lords in the 99 Heaven regions were arranged by the Domain Lord Alliance, so it was obvious how terrifying the Domain Lord Alliance was. Yi Mo's father, Yi Detian, was no ordinary person. Yi Detian, an elder of the Domain Lord's Alliance, was a powerful godly venerable expert. If he really did return to the Domain Lord's Alliance and Yi Mo and Yi Detian wanted to deal with him, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. "Brother Yi, I still have some matters to attend to. Why don't you go first?" He sneered in his heart. Yi Mo had already decided that when he brought Xiao Fan back to the Domain Lord Alliance, he had to think of a way to get rid of this person. Originally, he had wanted to establish a sect, but after thinking about it, he decided against it. It would be better for him to smoothly become a Domain Lord. Thinking of this, Yi Mo wanted to get rid of Xiao Fan even more. However, to get rid of a godly emperor, especially a former Domain Lord, he couldn't do it openly. He had to do it secretly. Using his father's power was the most suitable. "Brother Xiao, you don't know, but this time, my father wants to see you personally. It will be beneficial for you." The more Yi Mo acted like this, the more certain Xiao Fan was that he would be in danger if he went to the Domain Lord Alliance. However, Yi Mo had already mentioned Yi Detian. If he continued to refuse, it would obviously be provoking Yi Detian. At that time, it would be too easy for Yi Detian to find trouble with him. Xiao Fan regretted it. If he had known this would happen, he would have agreed to Longao's request. Even if it was dangerous, he would have gotten rid of Yi Mo first. If this matter didn't leak out, not only would he not be in danger, he could even become a Domain Lord. Xiao Fan had already guessed that Yi Mo would definitely get rid of him, but he didn't expect that Yi Mo couldn't even wait for a few minutes. Go! Or not. If he went, he would be in danger. If he didn't go, he would cause more trouble for Yi Detian. Under such circumstances, he was in a dilemma. "Brother Yi." "Ha ha ha, Brother Xiao, don't be nervous. There will definitely be benefits for you if you come with me to the Domain Lord Alliance. We will leave in 10 days. As for your matter, it won't be too late to deal with it when you return." Yi Mo didn't give Xiao Fan any chance to refuse and said with a smile. Xiao Fan cursed in his heart. However, since things had already come to this, Xiao Fan could only agree. As for whether he would go or not, he would think about it later. After returning to his residence, Xiao Fan couldn't wait to contact Longao. However, at this moment, he helplessly discovered that he had no way of contacting Longao. He cursed in his heart. Since Yi Mo wanted to join forces with him to deal with Yi Mo, why didn't he leave any contact? Xiao Fan was very anxious because he only had 10 days. If he couldn't get rid of Yi Mo in 10 days, there would only be one outcome. He would follow Yi Mo to the Domain Lord Alliance. As for whether he lived or died, it wasn't something he could control. Xiao Fan could even say that Yi Deqian definitely didn't know that he would follow Yi Mo back to the Domain Lord Alliance. Once he returned, Yi Mo could borrow Yi Deqian's power to eliminate him at any time. Zonglong City. Longao could clearly feel a terrifying aura passing by in an instant. Without a doubt, the person who just left was definitely a divine venerable expert. According to Xiao Fan, there was only one divine venerable in the entire Zonglong City, and that was Jiyu Hao, his master's traitor. He was just curious, why did Jiyu Hao leave for no reason? However, Longao didn't stop him. His current task was to deal with Yi Mo. As for Jiyu Hao, it wasn't time yet. A hierarch expert was too far away for him. Inside his chaotic dantian, looking at the Shen Yuan sword in his hand, Longao felt very sad. Yun Qian and Yun Shi died because of him. He felt very guilty and blamed himself. Although Nangong Chen was killed by him, Nangong Fengfeng's whereabouts were still unknown. This debt, no matter what, he had to take revenge. Hey! At this moment, Longao exclaimed. His face was instantly filled with surprise, as if he couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. Boss, what happened? Chapter 3008. Xiao He was very curious. He did not know what was going on with his boss. Longao did not answer. He simply stared at the Shenyuan sword in his hand. Qian Sister Yun, is that you? Sensing the two weak auras coming from the Shenyuan sword, Longao was overjoyed. He was almost certain that neither Sister Yun nor Qian had truly died. Their primordial spirits had been forcibly absorbed by the Shenyuan sword. Thinking about it, he understood. Qian had received her master's power inheritance. Even if she chose to self-destruct her primordial spirit, the Shenyuan sword would sense its master's aura and directly absorb Qian and Sister Yun's primordial spirits into the Shenyuan sword. How could he not be overjoyed? He had thought that Qian and Sister Yun had died. Unexpectedly, there was still a chance. As long as the two of them could be reborn, Longao was willing to give up everything. Suppressing the joy in his heart, Longao said, "Earlier, I sensed Sister Yun and Qian's auras from the Shenyuan sword. It means that their primordial spirits have entered the Shenyuan sword. They have not truly died." Hearing that, Xiao He was also overjoyed. "Boss, if that's the case, when will you help them be reborn?" "Rebirth. Easier said than done. Not to mention him, even God Emperors could not do that." Thinking about how the two of them had only managed to preserve their primordial spirits and how rebirth was not an easy task, Longao's face turned grim. As long as there is hope, as long as there is hope. Longao sighed. He had been too hasty. If he wanted the two of them to be reborn, he had to do it step by step. He could not be too hasty. Sitting quietly in his chaotic dantian, Longao began to think about how to save the two of them. The Shenyuan sword. Should he borrow his master's power? He heaved a deep sigh. After thinking about it for a long time, he still couldn't think of a better way to solve the problem of the two women. "Boss, I have an idea. I don't know if it's possible. Tell me about it." Since their primordial spirits were absorbed by the Shenyuan sword, the key lies within the Shenyuan sword. "Boss, why don't you take control of the Shenyuan sword and see what's going on?" Long Xiao He had a rough idea of what Xiao He was trying to say. The more you care, the more confused you become. That was indeed the case. If he wanted the two women to be reborn, the first thing he had to do was to master the Shenyuan sword. Only in this way could he think of a solution as soon as possible. It was easy to think about, but difficult to actually do. Ever since he got the Shenyuan sword, Longao had been trying to master it, but no matter what he did, he couldn't do it. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't depressed. Without any hesitation, Longao immediately began to grasp the Shenyuan sword. And the result? Still not succeeding, Longao became more and more irritated. "Big brother, why don't you let me try?" "Sure." Blackie took the Shenyuan sword and started to refine it. However, the result was the same as Longao's. He was still unable to truly control the Shenyuan sword. He wasn't disappointed at all because Longao had already guessed this result. Although he had already grasped the god-slaying 9 swords, He was unable to truly grasp the Shenyuan sword and was unable to unleash the true prowess of the god-slaying 9 swords. Right at this moment, Longao seemingly sensed something and he quickly left his chaotic dantian. He went outside and found an extremely remote place. Longao, His Majesty had thought that you could inherit my Shenyuan sword. Unexpectedly, you are the reincarnation of an expert and cannot inherit it. If so, if you want to save your 2 women, you should hurry up and find a successor for the Shenyuan sword. All right. As for Yun Qian obtaining my power, after she is reborn, she will naturally continue to refine my power. This is the last remnant of my soul. I can only help you this once. In the future, you will have to rely on yourselves. After saying that, Shenyuan Bubai's remnant soul slowly disappeared. Longao bowed respectfully toward the disappearing primordial spirit. It was a sincere bow. Naturally, Longao knew that the reason why Chen and Sister Yun's primordial spirits could be forcefully sucked into the Shenyuan sword was all because of his master. If not for his master, one could imagine what the consequences would be. Although he did not succeed in inheriting the Shenyuan sword and the god-slaying 9 swords, Longao still considered Shenyuan Bubai as his master. Xiao He was unable to inherit the Shenyuan sword. It would appear that he was in the same situation as him, a reincarnation. He had to hurry up and find a successor for the Shenyuan sword. That way, not only would he not let his master down, he would also be able to help the 2 women be reborn. However, the current situation, he had to find a suitable successor for his master. After thinking about it, Longao suddenly thought of someone. Dragon City. Using the teleportation array, Longao returned to Dragon City at the fastest speed possible. After thinking about it, he finally thought of Big Brother Dongfang. Brother Long, are you all right? Of course, Longao knew what Big Brother Dongfang was talking about. He shook his head and said with a smile, I'm fine. It was scary but not dangerous. Dongfang Tu Ying, Han Yin, Han Feng, Da Bai, and Xiao Bai. Longao did not hide anything from the 5 of them. He told them about what happened previously. However, he did not mention anything about his primordial spirits. Although Longao said it simply, the 5 people were shaken to the core when they heard it, especially Han Feng, who was full of praise for Longao. Longao, I have already reported your matter to the Pill Hall. You can rest assured. Even the Domain Lords Alliance will not be able to do anything to you. The Domain Lords Alliance was indeed powerful. However, it was still not enough to suppress the Pill Hall. No matter what, the Pill Hall's strength was definitely on par with the Domain Lords Alliance. The strength of the 2 great forces was about the same. Thank you, Big Brother. Brother Long, why did you come back this time? Dongfang Tu Ying could tell that Longao had something to ask and immediately asked. Longao nodded. Big Brother Dongfang, I have something to trouble you with this time. Please say it. As long as it's something that I can do, I will definitely help. Dongfang Tu Ying did not know what Longao wanted. However, no matter what it was, as long as it was something that he could do, he would definitely not decline. I believe that you should have heard of Shenyuan Bubai. He is my master. However, I am not suitable to inherit his Shenyuan sword and 9 god-slaying swords. After thinking about it, I feel that the most suitable person is still you. To be honest, one of my sisters and one of my wives self-destructed their primordial spirits in order to save me. My master forcefully absorbed their primordial spirits into the Shenyuan sword. After you have obtained the Shenyuan sword, help them to be reborn. So it's about this. Dongfang Tu Ying naturally would not reject this matter. He immediately nodded his head and said, Brother Long, leave this to me. Longao did not hesitate and immediately handed over the Shenyuan sword. Chapter 3009. Dongfang Tu Ying knew the severity of the matter. Without any hesitation, he began to refine the sword. Other than Xiao He and Longao, everyone else could refine the Shenyuan sword, especially those chosen by Longao. There was no problem at all. Han Feng was also surprised. He did not expect Longao to have Shenyuan Bubai's inheritance. Shenyuan Bubai was known as the War Emperor. There were even rumors. The War Emperor Shenyuan Bubai was the strongest person below the ultimate god level. He was invincible among the divine emperors. It would be a lie to say that they were not envious. Longao, what are you going to do next? Not only Han Feng, but even Han Yin wanted to know what Longao was going to do next. It was the same thing. Toward Han Feng and Han Yin, Longao did not hide anything at all. Kill Yi Mo and get rid of him. Even though they had guessed it, Han Yin and Han Feng were still given a fright. With Yi Mo's status and strength, killing Yi Mo was easy for them to think about, but actually doing so would be very difficult. If Yi Mo could be killed so easily, he would not be alive now. Brother Long, you still don't know Yi Mo's identity. Before Han Yin could finish, Longao said, Sister Han, Yi Mo's father, Yi Detian, is not only an elder of the Territorial Lords Alliance, but also an ultimate god expert. Brother Long, since you know Yi Mo's father's identity and strength, can't you take a step back? How could Longao not understand the meaning behind Sister Han's words? No, I swear I'll kill Yi Mo. How could Han Yin not know Longao's character? It was precisely because of this that she was very worried. Yi Mo was not only a divine emperor expert, but his father was also not simple. Even if Longao killed Yi Mo, what would happen in the future? Han Feng thought for a moment and said, Longao, are you confident? No. Han Feng was extremely frustrated. Even if he was not confident, he was still stubborn. Big brother Han, big sister Han, I know you are doing this for my own good. However, there are some things that should be done and some things that should not be done. Killing off Yi Mo is something that must be done. In that case, do you need my help? He was very touched. Han Feng and Han Yin clearly knew that Yi Mo had a powerful backer behind him, but they still helped him. He cherished this friendship very much. Big brother Han, I'll deal with this myself. Just help me look after Dragon City. Han Yin and Han Feng were not fools. How could they not know what Longao meant? He didn't want to implicate the two of them. Even if he succeeded in killing Yi Mo, once Yi Detian found out about it, the consequences would be unimaginable. Yi Detian was an elder of the Domain Lords Alliance. He was even a godly venerable expert. Even if it was the Pill Hall, Yi Detian wouldn't let this matter rest. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the Pill Hall wasn't willing to go against the Domain Lords Alliance. Longao, I know what you mean. Han Feng thought for a moment and continued, just as you thought, for the sake of the Pill Hall, we can't help you directly. However, we can still help you secretly. As long as we kill Yi Mo secretly, Mph. Han Feng, Da Bai, and Little Bai were three godly emperors. If they worked together, killing Yi Mo wouldn't be difficult. However, the problem now was, if he was unlucky and Yi Detian found out about it, the consequences would be unimaginable. Big brother Han. That's enough. You're a man, don't waste time. Since things had already come to this, Longao didn't say anything else. Since Big Brother Han had already made his move, this matter had to be done secretly. He definitely couldn't let Yi Detian know about it. Waiting. Under such circumstances, the most important thing was to wait for Big Brother Dongfang to refine the Shen Yuan sword. As for killing Yi Mo, he would think about it later. 3 days later, Dongfang Tu Ying successfully refined the Shen Yuan sword. He immediately found Longao and said, Brother Long, just as you said, Yun Shi and Yun Chen's primordial spirits still exist due to Senior Shen Yuan's forceful absorption. It's just that they're very weak. Before we find a good solution, I suggest you don't casually touch their primordial spirits. Longao nodded. Longao obviously knew what Dongfang Tu Ying meant. Now that Dongfang Tu Ying had truly refined the Shen Yuan sword, he had more authority over the two primordial spirits. Big brother Dongfang, what do you think I should do now? Brother Long, if you trust me, why don't you leave this matter to me? Let me use the Shen Yuan sword to nurture their primordial spirits. Once their primordial spirits have recovered to a certain extent, we'll think of a way to revive them. What do you think? No problem. I'll listen to Big Brother. Longao naturally wouldn't have any problems. Dongfang Tu Ying and Han Yin continued to stay in Dragon City. Longao, Han Feng, Da Bai, and Little Bai all left Dragon City. The four of them disguised themselves and secretly entered the Zonglong Heaven territory. The Zonglong Heaven territory was one of the more advanced heavens in the middle 33 heavens. There were 3 teleportation formations in the Zonglao's heaven territory. Longao, Han Feng, and the others didn't enter the teleportation formation in Zonglong City. As such, no matter how powerful the Realm Master's mana was, they couldn't be everywhere. Han Feng was a primary stage Divine Emperor while Da Bai and Little Bai were both intermediate stage Divine Emperors. As long as they could devise a plan, killing Yi Mo would be a piece of cake. The biggest problem now was that they had to keep this matter a secret. The 4 of them didn't enter Zonglong City. Right at this moment, Longao encountered an acquaintance. It was none other than Xiao Fan, who was looking for him. "Brother Xiao, are you looking for me?" Longao sneered in his heart. He had already guessed why Xiao Fan was looking for him. However, he didn't need Xiao Fan's help now. With Han Feng and the others secretly helping him, killing Yi Mo was already a done deal. Xiao Fan was furious. Suppressing the anger in his heart, he said, "Brother Long, to tell you the truth, I came to find you this time mainly to cooperate with you to deal with Yi Mo. I wonder if you're still interested." "No problem." Longao didn't want to agree at first. However, he suddenly thought of something and immediately agreed. As for why Xiao Fan would agree to cooperate with him, he couldn't figure out the reason. Xiao Fan couldn't be unaware of the pros and cons. If this matter was leaked, it was obvious what it would mean. At that time, not to mention others, just Yi Detian alone would tear Xiao Fan into pieces. Since Xiao Fan knew about this, why did he still insist on doing this? He wouldn't believe that there wasn't something fishy going on. As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Xiao Fan didn't hide anything and said, 10 days later, Yi Mo will bring me to the Realm Masters Alliance. Chapter 30:10. Longao had already guessed Yi Mo's intention. Just as he had guessed before, Yi Mo could no longer hold back and wanted to eliminate Xiao Fan. No wonder Xiao Fan was so anxious. Without continuing to ask, Longao and Xiao Fan began to discuss how to deal with Yi Mo Zonglong City. Inside the City Lord Mansion. "Brother Xiao, are you looking for me? I just received news from my father that we must go to the Domain Lords Alliance immediately." Xiao Fan's heart skipped a beat. Xiao Fan's heart was also filled with killing intent. Yi Mo did not even want to wait for these few days and wanted to eliminate him as soon as possible. "Since you are so heartless, don't blame me for being heartless. Brother Yi, I have just found the traces of Longao's spiritual beast. It's not as good as us." "Where is it?" Yi Mo immediately asked when he heard the 3 words sky-swallowing beast. As for dealing with Xiao Fan, he could do it at any time. "It's in the wind-gazing mountain range, hundreds of miles away from the city." As soon as Xiao Fan finished speaking, Yi Mo had already rushed out. He sneered. Xiao Fan did not continue to stay and immediately followed. This time, he had to kill Yi Mo no matter what. Longao was only a level 5 array master and the level 5 array master was not enough to kill a divine emperor. However, he told Xiao Fan that he was a level 6 array master and could set up a level 6 array master. This gave Xiao Fan full confidence. There was no doubt that a level 6 array master and his own strength was enough to kill Yi Mo wind-gazing mountain range. Longao had indeed set up an array, but it was only a level 5 array. Yi Mo and Xiao Fan entered the wind-gazing mountain range. Under Xiao Fan's guidance, Yi Mo and Xiao Fan smoothly entered the level 5 array master. "Longao, you're not dead." Looking at Longao who was standing in front of him alive, Yi Mo was dumbfounded. He didn't know what had happened. All along, he had thought that Longao would definitely die after the self-destruction of his primordial spirit. However, he had never expected that Longao would not die after the primordial spirit was burned. Instead, he was standing in front of him. Was this real? If he had not seen it with his own eyes, it would have been unbelievable. "I won't die before you do." Longao coldly looked at Yi Mo in front of him and suddenly said, "Xiao Fan, thank you for luring Yi Mo here. After killing him, Zonglong City will be yours." When he heard Longao's words, Yi Mo's expression suddenly turned cold. He stared at Xiao Fan and asked, I hope you can give me a reasonable explanation. Xiao Fan was also dumbfounded. According to their previous agreement, Longao would first use the level 6 formation to deal with Yi Mo, and at the crucial moment, he would sneak attack Yi Mo from behind. But now, why did Longao do this? What did Longao mean by this? He could not figure it out. Longao, what do you mean by this? Ha ha ha, Xiao Fan, there's one more thing that I forgot to tell you. I'm not a rank 6 array master, but a rank 5 array master. The array that I set up is also not a rank 6 array master, but a rank 5 array master. He was thoroughly enraged. Of course, Xiao Fan knew that a rank 5 array master and a rank 6 array master were two completely different things. The difference between the two was simply too great. Xiao Fan, I had not expected you to be such a traitor. How dare you betray me? Do you know the consequences of betraying me? In his heart, Xiao Fan was cursing all 18 generations of Longao's ancestors. But since things had already come to this, there was no turning back. If he did, he would die. Thinking about it, Yi Mo would definitely not let him off. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. All of a sudden, Xiao Fan laughed out into the skies. Yi Mo, compared to me, your talent is not as good as mine. Your potential is not as good as mine. It's just that you have a better birth than me. Otherwise, how could you have become a middle-level god emperor? Trash. Before Yi Mo could reply, Xiao Fan continued, I was the one who fought for the position of Zonglong City's city lord. But for so many years, you and that dumbass old man of yours have been spreading rumors that you were the one who gave up the position of city lord to me. Give up your mother. The more he scolded, the angrier he got. If not for the fact that you have Yi Ditien behind you, do you think you could have built the Sanskrit sect? With just you. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Yi Mo's face was extremely dark right now. It was as ugly as it could get. Xiao Fan, I'll show you today just how big of a difference there is between the two of us. Not wanting to waste any more words, Xiao Fan took a step forward and bolted out. From the beginning till the end, Xiao Fan had not taken Longao seriously at all. Even if Longao had already broken through to the God King level, he was still an ant in Xiao Fan's eyes. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Fan and Yi Mo were engaged in a fierce battle. No matter how strong Xiao Fan was, he was no match for Yi Mo. The two of them were not even on the same level. As the battle escalated, Xiao Fan was starting to find it hard to hold on. Longao, how dare you set me up? After I kill Yi Mo, I'll definitely rip you into shred. Now that things had come to this, if Xiao Fan still could not figure out what was going on, he would really be a retard. And that was the reason why Xiao Fan was so enraged. To think that he would one day be pecked by an eagle while he was out hunting. If it were any other time, Xiao Fan would definitely not have fallen for it. But right now, the situation was a little special. Yi Mo was obviously trying to get rid of him as soon as possible. If he did not get rid of Yi Mo as soon as possible, the only outcome that awaited him would be death. And it was under such circumstances that Xiao Fan was tricked by Longao. Looking at the dog-eat-dog situation in front of him, Longao sneered. He was not in a hurry to make a move. He was going to watch the fight from the other side. It would not be too late for him to make a move when both of them were injured. This time, no matter if it was Xiao Fan or Yi Mo, both of them had to die. As the battle escalated, Xiao Fan had also used his trump card. Unfortunately, he was still no match for Yi Mo. Finally, he was hit continuously. Catcher. With a loud sound, Xiao Fan's body fell to the ground. However, he did not truly die. With a gloomy face, he looked at Longao, who was watching the show from afar. He sneered and said, Longao, don't think that you can have an easy time just because I'm dead. Yi Mo will not let you go. Murderous intent surged. However, the current Xiao Fan was no longer a tiger, but an angry and injured tiger. Even if his heart was filled with endless murderous intent, he could only stare helplessly. I'm sorry, but your wish will never come true. Do you know why I have to trick you? Seeing that Xiao Fan did not speak, Longao continued, because not only you, even Yi Mo will not be able to leave here today. Back then, if you had agreed to my request, this would not have happened. I, Longao, despise people like you the most. Chapter 30:11. How could Xiaofan believe Longao's words? Boundless anger turned into boundless killing intent. However, he was powerless in this situation. Although Yi Mo had severely injured Xiaofan, he was also heavily injured. Even so, Yi Mo's expression was extremely gloomy. He looked coldly at Longao and said with a smile, "Longao, I have to admit that you're really something. However, you've overestimated yourself. Do you think that you're my opponent?" It was complete nonsense. This was simply impossible. It was a joke. He was a dignified mid-level divine emperor while his opponent was just a low-level divine king. He knew clearly how big the gap between them was. Was it possible for him to defeat him? Longao didn't care at all. Not to mention Yi Mo, even Xiaofan couldn't understand where Longao's confidence came from. Ha ha ha, if Longao can't do it, what about me? Along with the laughter, Han Feng and the other two walked out slowly. 3 divine emperors. A low-level divine emperor and 2 mid-level divine emperors. Both Xiaofan and Yi Mo's expression changed when they sensed their true strength. At this moment, they finally knew where Longao's confidence came from. Han Feng. At first glance, Xiaofan and Yi Mo had already recognized Han Feng's identity. However, the two of them could not understand why Han Feng would help Longao. Even if Longao was from the Pill Hall, the Domain Lord's Alliance's strength was still there. Thinking of this, Han Feng, do you know what the consequences of your actions will be? Once the Domain Lord's Alliance knows about this, even your father won't be able to bear it. Is that so? Han Feng didn't care at all. How could he reveal this under such circumstances? As long as this matter wasn't exposed, there was nothing to be afraid of. Yi Mo, die. They didn't want to waste any time and wanted to end the battle quickly. After all, the longer they delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. Bai and Little Bai immediately attacked. Regardless of whether it was Xiaofan or Yi Mo, they could only be killed in anger and unwillingness. Even if they were to die, the two of them would never have imagined such an outcome. Even if the two of them weren't injured, Bai and Little Bai's strength was more than enough to kill the two of them. Longao, the two of them have fallen. From now on, you must be careful. How could Longao not know about Han Feng's worries? Putting aside Xiaofan, only this Yi Mo, the backing behind him was a little too strong. The First Heavenly Region. The Domain Lord Alliance was one of the strongest forces in the entire Primal Chaos realm. Even the Pill Hall didn't dare to provoke the Domain Lord Alliance. And 95% of the Domain Lords of the 99 Heaven Domains were arranged by the Domain Lord Alliance. This obviously showed how formidable the Domain Lords Alliance was. Domain Lord Alliance, at the peak of a very secluded mountain. An old man sat quietly at the top of a mountain, cultivating. The power of time around him revolved around him. All of a sudden, the old man opened his eyes and looked at the boundless void in the distance. A jade badge in his pocket instantly shattered. Killing intent surged from his body. The old man suddenly stood up and roared with boundless fury, "I don't care who you are. How dare you kill my son? I'll tear you to pieces." The old man was none other than an elder of the Domain Lord Alliance, Yi Mo's father, Yi Detian. He was also a powerful godly venerable expert. Yi Detian was never worried about Yi Mo. Not to mention Yi Mo's strength and identity, he believed that all the powerful beings in the Primal Chaos Palace would give him some face. It was because of this that Yi Detian couldn't understand who it was that dared to kill his son. He couldn't accept it. Yi Detian only had this one son, and he only had Yi Mo under extremely difficult circumstances. Yi Mo's talent wasn't very freakish, but Yi Detian had spent countless efforts to raise Yi Mo into a godly emperor. Yi Detian's status in the Domain Lord Alliance was very high. Once he gave the order, people immediately started investigating the matter. However, they didn't have any leads. However, the feud between Longao and Yi Mo, as well as the destruction of the Sanskrit sect, was spread. Longao? He was just a peak-over god. Even if he had the help of a powerful divine beast, it seemed impossible for him to kill his son. Moreover, according to the legends, Longao burned his primordial spirit to increase his strength. Not only did he kill many godly kings, but he even killed a level 6 divine beast. However, there was only one result of burning his primordial spirit. He was seeking his own death. In Yi Detien's opinion, this definitely wasn't Longao's doing. How could a person who burned his primordial spirit not die? Moreover, Longao was only a peak-over god. The difference in strength between him and his son was too great. They weren't on the same level at all. Who could it be? There were no clues at all. Yi Mo seemed to have been killed for no reason. Even so, Yi Detien didn't give up. Not only that, but he even increased the intensity of the search. No matter what happened, he had to find his son's murderer and cut him into pieces. Longao didn't know that Yi Detien was looking for him at all. After killing Yi Mo and Xiao Fan, he finally heaved a sigh of relief. Now, he had to increase his strength as quickly as possible. After all, he still had many enemies. Nangong Fengyun, Jiyu Hao, and even Yi Detien, who was behind Yi Mo. Although this was done secretly, and in the eyes of others, he had already died because of the burning of his primordial spirit, it couldn't be hidden forever. Unless he could hide his identity forever, the news of him killing Yi Mo would definitely be leaked. Once Yi Detien found out about this, it was obvious what the consequences would be. Therefore, everything was fake. Only his continuous increase in strength was real. When his cultivation broke through to the godly venerable realm, he wouldn't have to worry even if Yi Detien found out about this. If he was strong, he could do whatever he wanted. If he wasn't, then sorry, he would be beaten up no matter where he went. This was the cruel reality. In the chaotic realm, strength was everything. The news of Xiao Fan and Yi Mo's death spread very quickly. This was deliberately done by Longao. As expected, Zonglong City was in an uproar after hearing the news. One of them was the Zonglong region's domain lord, and the other was the vice domain lord. The two of them could be said to be able to cover the sky in the Zonglong region with one hand. No one dared to provoke them. But now, the two of them had both died. Who was it that dared to kill the two of them? However, everyone had already guessed that the person who killed the two of them was definitely not simple. At the very least, it was a divine emperor. Moreover, it was a high-level divine emperor or a peak divine emperor. Chapter 30:12. Yi Detien brought a total of 10 divine emperors to Zonglong City. Yi Mo's death had completely enraged Yi Detien. He didn't care about anything else. No matter who it was, he had to take revenge. With Yi Detien's arrival, the entire Zonglong region was in an uproar. One supreme god and 10 divine emperors. What kind of concept was that? Who exactly killed Yi Mo and Xiao Fan? Until now, it was still a mystery. No one knew. However, everyone had their own guesses. Since Yi Detien brought 10 divine emperors to Zonglong City, it was obvious what was going to happen. Yi Detien's group of 11 directly entered Zonglong City's domain master's manor. Longao didn't leave the Zonglong region at all. He was in Zonglong City. Longao naturally received news of Yi Detien's arrival. He wasn't surprised at all. Longao had already guessed that Yi Detien would definitely come after Yi Mo's death. He did it on purpose. Until now, no one knew that he wasn't dead. Therefore, even if Yi Detien was beaten to death, he wouldn't think that he was the one who killed his son, Yi Mo. Longao sneered. He purposely spread the news. Soon, the news of Xiao Fan and Yi Mo's death spread throughout Zonglong City. Their deaths were related to Jiyu Hao. In the end, the two of them were killed by Jiyu Hao. What kind of concept was that? Everyone knew what kind of person Jiyu Hao was. Jiyu Hao was the domain master of the lightning region. He was also a supreme god. It would be a piece of cake for him to kill 2 divine emperors. Inside the domain master's manor, Yi Detien's face turned cold when he received the news. However, he didn't act rashly. No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure out why Jiyu Hao killed his son. He had a good relationship with Jiyu Hao. Jiyu Hao wasn't a madman. There was no reason for him to provoke him. However, Jiyu Hao did come to Zonglong City before and stayed there for 10 years. No one knew what happened during that time. Whether or not his son's death was related to Jiyu Hao was truly an unknown. No matter who it is, I'll tear you to pieces if you dare to kill my son. If this was really done by Jiyu Hao, then he would definitely kill him. However, Yi Detian was still calm enough. He did not act rashly and immediately sent a message to Jiyu Hao. No matter what, he had to ask Jiyu Hao what was going on first. Several days later, the domain lord of the Thunder Heavenly Domain, Jiyu Hao, personally arrived. Jiyu Hao did not care about Yimo's life and death at all. The only thing he cared about was Yimo's father, Yi Detian. Yi Detian's identity and strength were right there, especially his status, which was even much higher than Jiyu Hao's. Jiyu Hao was not willing to get involved in this matter. Brother Yi, I really didn't expect that in just a few short months, we would meet again. Yi Detian's expression was extremely dark. It was as dark as it could get. Jiyu Hao, I want to ask you something. I didn't kill Yimo. However, I know who did it.
Who?
Hearing Jiyu Hao's words, Yi Detian asked impatiently. In fact, he had also guessed that his son's death should have nothing to do with Jiyu Hao. Otherwise, Jiyu Hao would not have come to Zonglong City. I believe you already know about the grudge between Longao and Yimo. Although Yimo burned his primordial spirit and fell, Longao has a heaven-defying divine beast by his side that can devour divine king warriors. It might be this spiritual beast. Nodding. What you said is also what I was thinking. It's just that we are unable to lock onto this spiritual beast right now. Jiyu Hao thought for a moment, then said, this spiritual beast is obviously taking revenge for Longao, and has already killed Yimo, I'm afraid. After saying that, Jiyu Hao did not continue, but the meaning behind his words was already clear. Yi Detian was not an idiot. Of course he could hear the meaning behind Jiyu Hao's words. If he was not mistaken, the spirit beast should have left by now. The Chaos Realm's 99 heavenly regions were boundless. Finding a spiritual beast was like finding a needle in the ocean. It was almost impossible. Brother Jiyu, I hope you can help me. No problem. If it was anyone else, Jiyu Hao would not even be willing to look at them, let alone help them. Only Yi Detian, Jiyu Hao did not even think about it and directly agreed. The reason was simple. Yi Detian's identity was there. Not only was he a hierarch warrior, but he was also an elder of the Domain Lords Alliance. If he could build a good relationship with Yi Detian, it would be of great help to his future development. Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian, two hierarchs working together, in addition to 10 divine emperors, this kind of strength could be imagined. Not only that, Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian jointly announced that as long as they could find the spiritual beast by Longao's side, they could offer any conditions. As the saying goes, there will definitely be brave men with great rewards. Especially the favor of two hierarchs, it was obvious what it meant. Longao, who received the news, never thought that Yi Detian would target Xiao He. However, Xiao He was still in his dantian. No matter how powerful the two of them were, they would not be able to find Xiao He. Boss, are we just going to stay here? Xiao He could not understand. Since his boss knew that the two of them were no match for Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian, why did he insist on staying? There was no point in doing so. How could Longao not know what Xiao He meant? Forget it, I am a little unwilling, but Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian are too strong. Even if we were to design it, we would not be able to kill the two of them. 2 divine sovereigns, 10 divine emperors, if they were to find our tracks, it would be very troublesome. In a few days, we will use the transmission array to leave the Zonglong region. Even if he was unwilling, there was no other way if he did not leave Zonglong domain. After all, Yi Detian was too strong. Boss, why don't we do some damage to Zonglong City before we leave? What do you mean? Xiao He smiled and said with a sinister smile, Boss, aren't Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian looking for me? I will make a trip there. After I lure them away, you can destroy the domain chief's manor. Xiao He's intention was very clear. He wanted to lure the tiger away from the mountain. If he completely destroyed the domain chief's manor in front of 2 hierarchs and 10 divine emperors, what would Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian think? Longao smiled at Xiao He's idea. He could not wait to destroy the domain chief's mansion under the nose of an ultimate god. Perhaps no one would dare to do such a thing except for himself. He and Xiao He were the first to do so in history. The thought of it made him excited. Xiao He and Longao did not have the slightest hesitation and immediately started to do it. Chapter 30:13. Zonglong City, 9 Heavens Void. The huge black behemoth seemed to cover the sky, covering the entire Zonglong City. Blackie's body was too huge. Its terrifying power began to attack the Domain Master's mana. Everyone in Zonglong City began to panic. They did not know what kind of divine beast it was. It was so powerful that it dared to provoke Zonglong City. Zonglong City was not the same as before. Inside Zonglong City, there were 2 ultimate gods and 10 divine emperors. With such strength, no one dared to come and cause trouble. In the next second, Jiyu Hao, Yi Detian, and the 10 divine emperors all came out of the Domain Master's mana. Bastard, how dare you come and provoke us? I will kill you. Yi Detian waved his hand before the people below could finish speaking. Both Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian had guessed that the divine beast that suddenly descended from the 9 Heavens Void was the divine beast beside Longao. The 2 of them were overjoyed. Being able to find the divine beast was equivalent to finding Longao's body. Jiyu Hao certainly wanted to find the Shenyuan sword and the inheritance. As for Yi Detian, he thought that Yi Mo's death had a lot to do with the divine beast. Without the slightest hesitation, all of them quickly rushed towards Blackie. They did not want to fight at all. Blackie was there to lure the enemy away from the mountain. When it saw everyone coming, it immediately turned and left. In the blink of an eye, it had disappeared without a trace. When everyone caught up with it, a figure suddenly appeared. He looked at the Domain Master's mana below with a cold smile. Longao held the Chaos Axe in his hand and began to attack the Domain Master's mana crazily. With Longao's powerful strength, the Domain Master's mana was turned into nothingness in just a few attacks. After destroying the Domain Master's mana, Longao immediately turned and left. An hour later, when Jiyu Hao, Yi Detian, and the others returned, they found the Domain Master's mana destroyed. The 2 of them seemed to have guessed something. They were furious. They had been lured away. It seems that this matter is not that simple. Brother Yi, we should find this person as soon as possible. Otherwise, this person will always be a big problem for us. How could Yi Detian not know? This time, the 2 of them led 10 divine emperors to chase after the divine beast. They never expected that the divine beast would suddenly disappear under their noses. That's right, he disappeared into thin air just like that. He didn't even dare to think about it. Even now, the 2 of them still couldn't figure out what had happened. City Lord's Mansion. The Domain Chief's mana had been destroyed, so the 12 of them could only stay in the City Lord's mana for the time being. However, the current Zonglong City was already deserted. Other than the City Lord's Mansion, there was not even a ghost to be seen anywhere else. In the past, Zonglong City would be the safest place in the entire Zonglong Heaven domain. But now, the situation was completely different. No one would be able to stand it if it happened again and again. As long as one wasn't a fool, one would be able to guess that someone was trying to deal with Zonglong City in the dark. Staying here would only lead to death. That was it. In just one day, the entire Zonglong City was empty. Those who had to leave had left, and those who had to run had run. Of course, Yi Detian knew what was going on, but he didn't try to stop them. Whether Zonglong City developed or not had nothing to do with him. All he cared about was who had killed his son. Elder, according to the news we received, young Master and Longao had a huge grudge against each other. He even died in the hands of this person. Should we take revenge? Didn't Longao die because his primordial spirit was burned? As for the divine beast beside him, we still can't locate it. What should we do? The divine emperor said carefully, Elder, although Longao died, he created a dragon city before he died. Gradually, it started to replace Zonglong City's position. How could Yi Detian not know what he meant? Let's go. This time, Jiyu Hao didn't go. After all, such a small matter wasn't enough for him to go. Even a divine emperor could easily destroy a small town, let alone an ultimate god. Elder, this matter is a little troublesome. What's going on? I heard that there are 2 people in charge of Dragon City. One is Han Feng, and the other is Han Yin. Yi Detian wasn't unfamiliar with Han Yin and Han Feng. The 2 of them were the daughters of the Pill Hall's Hall Master. Yi Detian already knew how troublesome this matter was. No matter how powerful the Domain Lord's alliance was, they couldn't casually provoke the Pill Hall. Especially when the 2 of them were the daughter of the Pill Hall's Hall Master. Yi Detian felt helpless. However, when he thought about how Longao almost killed his son, the anger in Yi Detian's heart was like an avalanche. It turned into billowing killing intent that shot up into the sky. Zonglong City headed towards Blackstone City. Blackstone City, Dragon City. Today, Dragon City was thriving day by day. It had already surpassed Blackstone City. Especially after what happened before, Dragon City was now firmly standing as the #1 city in the Blackstone Heavenly region. Han Feng and Han Yin still hadn't left Dragon City. Although the Pill Hall had summoned them many times, they were prepared to stay for a while longer in order to help Longao. But now, Yi Detian brought 10 divine emperors and descended into the 9 heavens of Dragon City. Dongfang Tu Ying, who was about to activate the formation, suddenly felt the aura released by the 11 people. Dongfang Tu Ying, Han Yin, and Han Feng were all shocked. The 3 of them also arrived at the 9 heavens and looked at the 11 people in front of them. Elder Yi, what is the meaning of this? Han Feng and the other 2 of them naturally recognized the old man in front of them. He was Yi Mo's father, Yi Detian. He was also an elder of the Domain Lord's Alliance, a hierarch expert. The 3 of them knew the purpose of Yi Detian's visit. If they weren't mistaken, he was here to destroy Dragon City. The 3 of them naturally knew that even now, Yi Detian still didn't know who had killed Yi Mo. However, in order to avenge his son, Yi Detian had gone completely crazy. To Yi Detian, destroying a town was something that could be done in a matter of minutes. The 2 of you, this is between me and Longao. It has nothing to do with you. Please leave this place. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite even if you have the Pill Hall behind you. Yi Detian didn't want to fall out with them unless he had no other choice. If it was just the 2 of them, he wouldn't even care. What Yi Detian was afraid of was the Pill Hall behind them. It was a superpower that was comparable to the Domain Lord's alliance. Elder Yi, I think you've misunderstood. We don't want to interfere with the matter between you and Longao. It's just that Dragon City has already become a city under the Pill Hall. You won't openly challenge the Pill Hall and destroy our city, right? Hearing this, Yi Detian was instantly enraged. Even an idiot would know what Han Yin meant. Chapter 30:14. If the Pill Hall interfered in this matter, then it would be very troublesome. What should they do? If Dragon City was Longao's, then destroying it would be a matter of minutes. But if Dragon City belonged to the Pill Hall, then it would be a different matter. Even he wouldn't dare to destroy Dragon City and provoke the Pill Hall. His expression became uglier and uglier. Seems like you're really going to do this. Han Feng smiled and said, I'm sorry, Elder Yi. We don't have any intention to go against you. Just now, Xiao Yin already said that the Dragon City doesn't belong to Longao. It belongs to my Pill Hall. In the end, Yi Detian chose to give up. At least he couldn't destroy Dragon City on the surface. He turned around and left. He didn't say anything else. Big brother, what should we do now? Not only Han Yin, but even Han Feng knew that things weren't that simple. Big brother Han, Xiao Yin, I'll wait for you in the main hall. Hearing Longao's voice, the 3 of them immediately turned around and returned to the main hall. Brother Long, you shouldn't have come back. Yi Detian has already noticed Dragon City. Although he was forced to leave, he won't let this matter go. Longao didn't care at all. Yi Detian can't sense my location. Just as you guessed, although he has already left, he will definitely come back. Han Yin smiled helplessly and said, it's fine. As long as Yi Detian can't suppress the Pill Hall, he won't do anything. Han Yin was very confident about this. Others might not know how strong the Pill Hall was, but how could Han Yin not know? Sister Han, this matter isn't that simple. If Yi Detian did something behind our backs, Even the Pill Hall can't do anything about it without any evidence. Brother Long, tell me, what should we do now? Give up Dragon City. He definitely didn't want to give up Dragon City. After all, it was the first city he built in the Chaotic Realm. When his family came to the Chaotic Realm, they would have a place to stay. But the situation was completely different now. Yi Detian and Ji Yu Hao were very strong. 2 supreme gods and 10 divine emperors. If they secretly made a move, even the Pill Hall couldn't do anything about it. With no other choice, he could only choose to give up on Dragon City. After dealing with Yi Detian, he would find a new place to establish his own faction. The 3 of them already knew what Longao meant. However, Han Yin shook her head and said, Brother Long, even without you, it's impossible for us to give up the Dragon City. Han Feng continued, Xiao Yin is right. We just said that Dragon City will belong to the Pill Hall in the future. If we give it away just like that, wouldn't it be telling everyone that the Pill Hall is afraid of Yi Detian? Face was the most important thing. Regardless of whether it was for Longao or for his reputation, he could not easily give up Dragon City. Why bother? Longao said helplessly, we don't have to fight them head-on. Let them take advantage of us first. In the future, when we become stronger, we will pay with blood. Only the 3 of them knew that Dragon City originally belonged to Longao. Since Longao had already said so, the 3 of them did not continue to insist. If that's the case, we'll leave Dragon City now. Han Yin seemed like she still wanted to say something, but since things had already come to this, it seemed like she could only do so. Brother Han, Sister Han, the current situation is very disadvantageous for us, especially for Brother Dongfang. Why don't you return to the Pill Hall and leave the things here to me? Brother Long, be careful. Dongfang Tu Ying wasn't polite at all. If he was alone, he definitely wouldn't leave. But now, he had already refined the Shenyuan sword in his body. So, if he wanted to help the 2 of them, he had to do it. He could not let anything happen to him. However, Han Yin and Han Feng shook their heads at the same time. Han Yin said helplessly, Brother Long, I know you're doing this for our good. However, there's no need to talk about Yi Detian's strength. There's also Ji Yu Hao and 10 divine emperors. Can you fight against them alone? It was completely a joke. Not to mention 2 hierarch warriors, even a divine emperor warrior was not someone he could fight against. Unless he continued to ignite his Yuan spirit. However, unless he was in a life and death situation, he would not casually ignite his Yuan spirit. After all, every time he ignited his Yuan spirit, it was a risk. A risk with a high chance of survival. However, Longao smiled and said, outsmarted, outsmarted. Han Feng and Han Yin both smiled. The 2 of them also knew that with their strength, they would not be able to help Longao if they continued to stay. Rather than that, they might as well return to the Pill Hall as soon as possible. It would be best if they could get their father's help. The 3 of them brought a lot of people and started to evacuate the Dragon City. They did not evacuate secretly, but they did it with great fanfare. Because they knew that unless Yi Detian's brain was damaged, he would not stop them. After all, the Pill Hall's strength was there for all to see. Offending the Pill Hall might cause a war between the Pill Hall and the Domain Lords Alliance. It was easy to imagine what would happen if the 2 major forces of the chaotic world started a war. As expected. Of course, Yi Detian already knew that Han Feng and the others were evacuating the Dragon City. In his opinion, it was the other party who chose to compromise in the end. However, after thinking about it, he understood. Only a fool would go against him and the Domain Lords Alliance for a dead person. Originally, Yi Detian wanted to destroy the Dragon City. However, after Han Feng and the others left, Yi Detian did not destroy it. He directly moved into the Dragon City. As for the Black Rock City, it was completely destroyed. It would not be easy for it to regain its vitality. The change of the Dragon City's city lord did not affect the ordinary people at all. However, when they thought about what happened in the Black Rock City, everyone was extremely worried. Because everyone knew that someone was secretly plotting against Yi Detian and the others. It was just that they did not dare to do it openly. No one was willing to be a scapegoat. Therefore, when Yi Detian became the city lord, The people in the Dragon City immediately started to prepare to leave. They did not want to die without knowing why. However, what happened in the end? Yi Detian directly gave out an order. No matter who it was, if they dared to take a step into the Dragon City, they would be killed without mercy. What a joke! Provoking a hierarch expert was simply too impatient. Under the powerful deterrence, no one dared to leave the Dragon City. Just like that, the Dragon City was completely stabilized. Longao naturally knew about Yi Detian's matter. However, he did not care at all. Instead, he was planning to deal with Yi Detian and Ji Yu Hao. Chapter 30:15. With Ji Yu Hao and Yi Detian's strength, it would be like hitting a rock with an egg. In such a situation, they could only use their wits and not their strength. Even so, Longao was also very clear in his heart that it would not be easy to deal with the two of them. Now that Longao and Xiao He had both broken through to the early Divine King realm, they could at most kill a High Divine King. Even if they fought with their lives on the line, they could only deal with a peak Divine King. A Divine Emperor was like a mountain that couldn't be surpassed, let alone a hierarch that was above a Divine Emperor. First Heavenly Region. As the most powerful heavenly region in the Chaos Realm's 99 heavenly regions, not only was the Domain Lord Alliance here, even the Pill Hall's headquarters was located here. Pill Hall, the absolute overlord of the Chaos Realm. No one dared to provoke them. Even the Domain Lord Alliance and Domain Lord Manor didn't dare to provoke Pill Hall casually. At this moment, Pill Hall, in a simple study room. You're back. A middle-aged man sat quietly behind the table, holding a book in his hand. When Han Yin and Han Feng stepped into the study room, they immediately bowed respectfully and called out at the same time, "Father." That's right. The middle-aged man in front of them was their father, Han Yun. He was also the Pill Hall's Hall Master. His strength was unfathomable because no one had ever seen Han Yun fight before, not even Han Yin and Han Feng. However, there were rumors that the Pill Hall's Hall Master, Han Yun, had successfully broken through to the Hierarch realm and reached the Supreme God Emperor realm. As for whether it was true or not, no one knew. How did it go? Han Feng didn't dare to hide anything. He told everything in detail, not daring to leave out a single word. He emphasized how Yi Detian and Ji Yu Hao interfered. No matter what. No matter if it was Ji Yu Hao or Yi Detian, their status and strength were there. They couldn't be careless. Han Yun didn't have any expression. He just looked at his children indifferently and asked, "You want to help Longao?" Han Yin immediately replied, "Yes. Father, please help." Han Yin and Han Feng were very clear in their hearts that even if Ji Yu Hao and Yi Detian were strong and had a high status, in front of their own father, the two of them were nothing. Their father's status and strength were there. Not to mention Ji Yu Hao or Yi Detian, even the alliance leader of the Domain Lord's alliance would have to give his father some face. However, the two of them didn't know if their father was willing to help. If even his father wasn't willing to take action, then there was no doubt that no one in the entire Pill Hall would take action. There was no doubt about it. Han Yin looked at her father in front of her, her face filled with anticipation. Han Yun sighed deeply in his heart. If it were any other matter, not for anything else, even if it was for his daughter, it would be fine if he helped. But now, the situation was a little different. Longao actually dared to kill Yi Mo. Yi Detian would definitely not let this matter rest, not to mention that there was still another Ji Yu Hao. Do you know that if Yi Detian finds out that Longao is still alive, he'll definitely be able to guess that Yi Mo's death had something to do with him? Do you think Yi Detian will let this matter rest? How could Han Yin and Han Feng not know what their father had said? Knowing was one thing, doing it or not was another. Han Yin clenched her fists tightly and said in a firm voice, "Father, I beg you. Help Longao. If even you don't take action, then no one will be able to help him." Han Yun was an old fox. He knew what his daughter was thinking with a single glance. The more it was like this, the more helpless he felt. "You like Longao?" "Yes." If it was any other time, even if she liked Longao, Han Yin wouldn't admit it so casually. After all, how could a woman like her take the initiative in such a matter? However, the situation was completely different now. Han Yin knew that her father would only help Longao if she admitted that she liked him. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't have any chance of winning against Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian at the same time. Han Yun was well aware of his daughter's intentions. Little Yin, you should know how big the gap between you and him is. I can't let you follow him. Moreover, he has offended Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian. Even if I'm willing to help, the Domain Lord Alliance will also help. Tell me, is it worth it for a Longao? It definitely wasn't worth it. There was no need to think too much about it. For a person, a divine king, offending two hierarch experts and possibly even offending the Domain Lord Alliance, no one would be willing to do such a thing as long as they weren't idiots. Han Yin also knew that, but she couldn't just watch as Longao fell into danger. Father, I beg you. All right, it's useless to beg me. If it was anything else, it would be fine, but this is impossible. The people Longao has offended are no small matter. The backers behind Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian are not simple, especially Yi Detian, who is an elder of the Domain Lord Alliance. This is no small matter. At this moment, Han Feng thought for a while and said, Father, please help Longao, even if it's in the dark. Let me think about it. Han Yin and Han Feng glanced at each other. They could see a trace of helplessness in each other's eyes. Since their father had already said so, even if the two of them continued, there wouldn't be much meaning. Father, we'll take our leave first. Yen, go ahead. After Han Yin and Han Feng left, Han Yun's expression finally changed. A trace of admiration appeared on his face. What do you plan to do? At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in the study room. It was the Supreme Elder of the Pill Hall. I want to help this kid, but he offended Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian. Our Pill Hall doesn't need to be afraid of the two of them. However, it was still not enough to face the entire Pill Hall. How could Han Yun not know about this? However, the situation now is different. Yi Detian has the Domain Lord Alliance behind him. For so many years, our Pill Hall and the Domain Lord Alliance have been staying out of each other's business. If we act rashly, I'm afraid that the two major forces will become enemies or even start a war. In this situation, the other members of the Pill Hall will definitely not agree to it. I know what you mean. However, Longao's talent and strength, especially his courage, surpasses all of his peers. If we can recruit this kind of person into our Pill Hall. Speaking till here, the Supreme Elder didn't continue speaking. However, the meaning behind his words was already very clear. His meaning was already very clear. He wanted to help Longao. Helpless, Han Yun said, Yi Detian is fine, but Jiyu Hao is not simple. Isn't Jiyu Hao Shenyuan Bubai's disciple? Chapter 30:16. He shook his head. It's not that simple. Jiyu Hao betrayed Shenyuan Bubai back then. He must have obtained some powerful inheritance. Then what should we do now? Let's wait and see. Han Yun smiled and continued, I also want to see how many more surprises this child can give us. Pill Palace, another place. Brother, father isn't willing to make a move. What should we do now? Han Yin was very worried about Longao's safety. She thought that her father would take a fancy to Longao's talent and potential, but she didn't expect that her father wouldn't make a move. If she knew this would happen, she wouldn't have come back. She regretted it. However, it was too late to regret it now. Han Yin knew even more clearly that at this time, even if she went back, it wouldn't be of much use. After all, Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian's strength was not something she could contend against. What should she do? Her expression became more and more serious and ugly. Han Feng sighed deeply in his heart and said helplessly, no one can change father's decision, not even the great elder. Now, we can only rely on Longao. Rely on himself? That was a joke. Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian were both hierarch experts, but Longao was only an early divine king. The difference between the two was too great. They weren't on the same level at all. If this continued, Longao would be doomed. However, Han Feng continued, Little Yin, you don't have to worry too much. Longao isn't a reckless person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have lasted until now. If I'm not wrong, the reason why father isn't willing to make a move is because he wants to see Longao's potential and talent. Could it be that Longao's potential and talent aren't enough? Sigh. After a deep sigh, Han Feng shook his head helplessly and didn't say anything else. Zhong Long region. After thinking about it, Longao still couldn't think of a better way to deal with Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian. After all, hierarch experts were too powerful. It was very depressing. At this moment. This is great. The primal chaos starfield has finally opened. This time, I must enter the primal chaos starfield. Every time the primal chaos star realm opens, it lasts for hundreds of millions of years, and then it closes for hundreds of millions of years. We have plenty of time. After asking around, Longao finally learned what kind of place the chaos star realm was. The chaos star realm didn't belong to any heaven. It was a mysterious training ground. Every time it opened, it would stay open for hundreds of millions of years, and then close for hundreds of millions of years. This time, the chaotic star realm would open again for hundreds of millions of years. What kind of concept was that? If you wanted to enter the chaotic star field, you had to be under the godly emperor realm. There were no requirements, as long as you could enter. However, within the primal chaos star realm, there were dangers everywhere. The slightest carelessness could lead to eternal damnation. Out of 10, 6 were dead. Many people were still stuck outside the chaos star realm. He had originally planned to stay behind to deal with Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian, but after thinking about it, he realized that his current strength was not a match for the two of them. He instantly decided to enter the primal chaos star realm. Currently, his cultivation level had already successfully broken through to the beginner divine king realm. However, Longao was very clear in his heart that if he wanted to continue breaking through until he reached the peak divine king realm, who knew how long it would take. In this kind of situation, the chaos star realm was clearly very beneficial to his cultivation. Thinking of this, Longao immediately got up and headed for the chaos star realm. Boss, aren't we going to stay behind to deal with Jiyu Hao and Yi Detian? Let's increase our strength first. Once we break through to the godly emperor realm, we'll have a chance to fight. Little Black seemed to have understood Longao's meaning and didn't ask any more questions. Every time the Chaos Star realm opened, it would attract countless cultivators. Everyone below the godly emperor realm who wasn't afraid of death and wanted to increase their strength all rushed to the Chaos Star realm. If he wanted to reach the Chaos Star realm as quickly as possible, he had to take the teleportation formation. Longao didn't want to waste any time. In any case, he had plenty of crystals. Just like that, Longao directly took the teleportation formation and headed for the Chaos Star realm. First Heavenly Region. Hearing that the Chaos Star realm had reopened, Han Yin immediately prepared to head there to train. Han Feng naturally didn't want his sister to go. After all, within the Pill Hall, with such a huge amount of support, it wouldn't be difficult to break through. In the study, Han Yin said resolutely, "Father, I still want to go to the Chaos Star realm to train. That way, my cultivation will be able to break through quickly." Han Yin was very clear that she could only help Longao if her strength continued to grow stronger. Otherwise, everything would be nonsense. Little Yin, there are dangers everywhere in the Chaos Star realm. Not to mention others, even godly kings wouldn't dare to say that they could come out 100% of the time. Han Yun waved his hand and said, "No matter how great the resources of the Pill Hall are, it's still not the right path. Little Yin, going to train in the Chaos Star realm isn't a bad thing. Go, father supports you. Many thanks." Receiving her father's approval, Han Yin immediately turned and left. "Father, will little Yin be in danger? Go provoke some powerful godly kings and secretly follow little Yin into the Chaos Star realm. Remember, unless it's a matter of life and death, no one is allowed to help." Understood. How could Han Yun not know what his daughter was thinking? There was no way he could stop her. Since that was the case, he might as well let nature take its course. If Longao really could become a godly exalt or godly emperor, then it might not be a bad thing for little Yin to be with him. Han Yin immediately began to prepare and took the teleportation formation to the Chaos Star realm. It wasn't just Longao or Han Yin. Countless cultivators from the 99 heavens of the Chaos realm all poured into the Chaos Star realm. There were low gods, mid gods, high gods, over gods, godly kings, and all sorts of cultivators. No matter who it was, they all wanted to break through in the Chaos Star Realm. There was a huge plaza in front of the Chaos Star Realm. If one wanted to truly enter the Chaos Star Realm, they had to form a group. According to the legends of many seniors, there was a very long path from the plaza to the entrance of the Chaos Star Realm. There were all sorts of dangers and all sorts of divine beasts. If one was alone, even godly kings would die without a doubt. Only if one could form a group of dozens or even hundreds of people could they successfully reach the entrance of the Chaos Star Realm. When Longao arrived at the plaza, there was a sea of people everywhere. Everyone was looking for others to form a group with. After all, if one wanted to reach the entrance of the Chaos Star Realm, they had to form a group unless they wanted to commit suicide. Chapter 3017. Longao was very clear about the rules of the Chaotic Star Realm. It was just that he didn't want to team up with others. As soon as he stepped into the square, Longao quickly entered the passage alone. Look, that person wants to go to the entrance alone. F***ck, he really doesn't know how high the sky is. Every once in a while, we'll meet this kind of brainless person. Seeing that someone actually wanted to go to the passage alone, many people sighed and looked down on him. Everyone knew that if one wanted to enter the Chaotic Star Realm, they had to team up and pass through a void filled with endless dangers. Just as I expected. Longao held the Chaos Axe in his hand without any fear. As soon as he stepped into the void, he encountered a very unfamiliar spirit beast. This unfamiliar spirit beast didn't have a rank, but it was very strong, especially its body. Ordinary warriors really couldn't break through it. Lower god, middle god, and even higher god, if they didn't have the help of a god king or a god team, it would be a joke to smoothly pass through the void. If it was anyone else, they wouldn't be able to pass through alone. But Longao. The Chaos Axe in his hand constantly slashed out, and all the mysterious spirit beasts that attacked him were immediately killed by the Chaos Axe. His path was unobstructed. He was very curious. Longao really couldn't understand. Although these spirit beasts were slightly stronger, they didn't seem to be able to stop the attacks of so many warriors. What was going on? Things were definitely not that simple. Just as Longao began to speed up and prepared to rush to the entrance of the Chaotic Star Realm, even more powerful mysterious spirit beasts began to appear around him. Longao finally understood why warriors had to team up. It was indeed a bit impossible to do it alone. Even he was a bit strained and gradually began to be unable to resist. This couldn't go on. In the next second, Blackie appeared beside Longao and began to devour the mysterious spirit beasts around him. He devoured as many as there were. As long as he didn't encounter a peak god king or god emperor spirit beast, Blackie didn't fear any spirit beast at all. Blackie's cultivation had already broken through to the god king realm and needed more power to support it. The current situation was simply a huge advantage for Blackie. Longao was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that he had made the right choice not to team up with the others. Look. How powerful. Who is this person? He actually has such a heaven-defying divine beast that can devour the spirit beasts of the primal Chaos Star Realm. Looking at the man and the beast that were passing by, everyone was shocked. He had seen powerful people before, but he had never seen someone this powerful. He was truly an invincible existence. No wonder he wants to travel alone. If I had the help of such a heaven-defying divine beast, I would also travel alone. Alright, don't be envious. Let's hurry up. With the help of Blackie, Longao arrived smoothly. Just as he arrived, Blackie disappeared instantly and returned to his chaotic Dantian. In front of them was a huge spatial gate that could accommodate tens of thousands of people. Anyone who could make it this far did so without hesitation. After all, they had risked their lives to come here in order to train in the primal Chaos Star Realm. Longao was no exception. This time, he came in the hope that his cultivation could break through smoothly. Thinking of this, Longao took a step forward and his entire figure instantly disappeared from the spot. With a flash of light, Longao entered the primal Chaos Star Realm. There were hills all around. As soon as Longao stepped in, he heard miserable screams. Then, figures began to fall one after another. Boss, be careful. These spirit beasts can hide their bodies. I think they're called shadow spirit beasts. They're not very powerful, but they're very strange. They kill people without leaving a trace. Hearing Xiao Hei's spiritual sense transmission, Longao was really shocked. He had never seen such a spirit beast before. A shadow spirit beast could actually hide its body. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. How do I deal with this shadow spirit beast? Longao had just seen that among the dozens of people who had died earlier, there was actually a divine king martial artist. Even a divine king martial artist was killed by the shadow spirit beast's sneak attack. Just thinking about it, one would know how terrifying the shadow spirit beast was. Heavenly flames can do it. Longao had 2 heavenly flames. One was the first-ranked primal chaos flame, and the other was the 7th-ranked heart-burning flame lotus. If the heavenly flames could deal with the shadow spirit beasts, it would be the best. Not daring to have any hesitation, Longao immediately released the burning heart flame lotus and set up a layer of strange flame chi shield around his body. Sure enough, just as Xiao Hei said, with the strange flame chi shield, the surrounding shadow spirit beasts couldn't get close at all. Let's go. Longao and Blackie quickly left. This time, it wasn't just Longao. Even Blackie was looking for a chance to break through. Longao knew nothing about the primal chaos star realm. Let alone him, there were probably many people who didn't know what was inside. They could only rely on luck to find out. Longao was very fast. There were no strange movements in the surroundings. Just like that, he crazily flew. Gradually, Longao entered a very strange place. There were stone pillars everywhere. They were not too far away from each other. At a glance, there were about 99 stone pillars. The 99 stone pillars were arranged in an irregular pattern. Longao was very curious. There was no one around. In other words, he was the only one here. If it was a coincidence, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. What was going on? Boss, there seems to be something wrong with the 99 stone pillars. We should be careful. Longao nodded. How could he not know what Blackie was worried about? He didn't continue forward. With his current strength, there was no way for him to explore this mysterious place. He slowly retreated, preparing to leave this place. If it was before, Longao would definitely explore without hesitation to see what was going on with the 99 stone pillars. But the situation was different now. He already knew that he was a reincarnation and had met Nangong Yin, Master God Diviner, Duan Hun, and the others. His intuition told him that the primal chaos star domain wasn't as simple as he thought. Especially now. Could these 99 stone pillars be related to the 99 heavens of the primal chaos star domain? According to the rumors, each time the primal chaos star domain opened, it would last for hundreds of millions of years. So he had plenty of time. There was no need to rush. It wouldn't be too late to explore the 99 stone pillars once his cultivation base increased. Thinking of this, Longao turned to leave. But just as he was about to leave, the 99 stone pillars suddenly released a terrifying aura. Chapter 30:18. Each of the 99 stone pillars released a terrifying aura and pressure. Mixed together, it gave people a feeling of majesty and vastness. What's going on? Longao didn't dare to continue to leave. God knew what would happen if he forced himself to leave. Boss, what should we do now? Wait and see. Longao didn't know what was going on. He could only look at the 99 stone pillars around him, releasing a majestic aura that began to surround him. He didn't dare to leave. At this moment, Longao's dantian began to react. He was shocked, but he couldn't do anything about it. Xiao Hei, I'm going to awaken my primordial spirit. Huh! Hearing his boss's words, Xiao Hei was shocked. Of course, he knew what his boss meant, but he didn't know why his boss wanted to awaken his primordial spirit. Boss, what's going on? Not to mention Xiao Hei, even Longao didn't know what was going on. According to Duan Hun, it was impossible for him to awaken his primordial spirit unless he could reach the peak of his previous life. But now, he had just broken through the 7th phase of the 9 Revolution Chaos technique and had only comprehended the 7th level of the Divine Punishment, let alone the so-called peak of the Divine Punishment. According to my guess, The 99 stone pillars in front of me are not simple. They can actually affect my dantian. I have a feeling that I can awaken my primordial spirit with the help of the 99 stone pillars. I see. Boss, I'll give it a try and see if I can awaken my primordial spirit. Okay. The man and the beast immediately sat cross-legged and began to comprehend quietly. 99 points appeared in Longao's chaotic dantian. They began to devour the power of the 99 stone pillars crazily and began to fill the entire dantian. Longao was about to awaken his primordial spirit. He was very excited and looked forward to it. He also wanted to know who he was and what had happened in his previous life. His primordial spirit had not awakened and he had always been in a passive position. Longao was very uncomfortable with this feeling. He had thought that awakening his yuan spirit would require him to reach the peak of the 7th cycle, which meant that he would have to comprehend all 4 god powers. Who would have thought that after entering the chaotic star realm, he would come to this mysterious place for no reason, encounter the 99 stone pillars for no reason, and be about to awaken his yuan spirit? The 99 stone pillars were constantly changing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 99 stone pillars suddenly disappeared and turned into thin needles that pierced into Longao's body. The thin needles began fusing with his essence soul. In just a few seconds, all 99 stone pillars had fused into his primordial spirit. I see. Longao finally knew what the 99 stone pillars were. It turned out that they were left behind by him in his previous life. When he had fallen in his previous life, he had been afraid that he would not be able to awaken his yuan spirit. After all, his situation was different from others. Therefore, he had been prepared to rely on the 99 stone pillars to awaken his yuan spirit in this life. Just as he had guessed, if he were to rely on the 9 transformations chaos mantra to awaken his yuan spirit, that would be impossible. Comprehending the 4 god powers, especially if he were to cultivate them to their peak, was something that anyone could imagine. But right now, the situation was different. His yuan spirit seemed to be exploding as it slowly began to awaken. Time passed by bit by bit. Time flew by. 10 years passed by in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, Longao opened his eyes. His face was filled with helplessness as though he was a completely different person. I've got to get back to my peak strength as soon as possible. I'm not too far away from achieving chaos. Longao stood up. Now that his yuan spirit had awakened, he knew everything from the start to the end. He also knew what had happened in his previous life. As for whether Nangong Yin and the others were friends or foes, he was clear as well. Boss, you've successfully awakened your yuan spirit. Yes. Blackie said helplessly, I haven't awakened my yuan spirit yet. It seems that it has something to do with my inheritance. Only when I completely refine the inheritance can I truly awaken my yuan spirit. Yes, Blackie. You're indeed a chaos heaven-swallowing beast. There are other chaos divine beasts named after you. You'll know all of this when your yuan spirit awakens. From now on, we have to be extra careful. Seeing that his boss was unwilling to say more, Blackie didn't continue to ask because he knew very well that if his boss was willing to tell him, even if he didn't ask, his boss would tell him. If his boss didn't want to say, then no matter how much he asked, he believed that his boss wouldn't tell him. We don't have much time left. Back then, because I created the 9 transformations chaos mantra, I was the most promising person to achieve the chaos Tao. Therefore, many people wanted to use my strength to achieve the Tao. Boss, I don't understand. If that's the case, why didn't they attack you before you awakened your yuan spirit? Blackie really couldn't understand. In any case, if it was him, he would definitely choose to do so. However, thinking about Nangong Yin and the others, he didn't seem like a fool. How could he make such a low-level mistake? If it was his previous boss, he definitely wouldn't know. However, the situation now was obviously different. His boss had successfully awakened his yuan spirit. If there were no accidents, he would definitely know the reason. Humph, if they had the chance, they would have immediately killed me. However, they found out that I've already formed a 9-colored lotus yuan spirit and a chaotic dantian. Even if they killed me, I could still enter the reincarnation cycle. This would have delayed them. Fortunately, I left behind 99 stone pillars. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for me to awaken my Yuan spirit. That would have been very passive. Blackie continued to ask, Boss, since you've successfully awakened your Yuan spirit, could it be that Sister Shuang is really your wife? Shuang. Thinking of Shuang, Longao's expression became somewhat helpless. He nodded and said, Shuang is indeed my wife. If it wasn't for her saving me back then, I'm afraid I wouldn't even have the chance to reincarnate. In this life, although Shuang has successfully awakened her Yuan spirit, she hasn't recovered her memories of me back then. Perhaps she was afraid of losing me, so she forcefully sealed her memories of me. Thinking of Shuang, Longao's heart was filled with endless self-blame and guilt. If it wasn't for him, Shuang wouldn't have fallen to such a state, unable to repay him in this life. Blackie could clearly sense his boss' self-blame and guilt. He helplessly said, Boss, if it was you, I believe you would have made the same choice as Sister Shuang. So, husband and wife don't need to blame themselves and feel guilty. Chapter 30:19. Although he said that, Longao still blamed himself and felt guilty. Boss, are we going to find Sister Shuang now? If it was before, Blackie definitely wouldn't have suggested Boss to find Sister Shuang. But the situation was different now. Boss had successfully awakened his primordial spirit, so he definitely had a way to help Sister Shuang recover her memories. In that case, the two of them could be together again. Longao shook his head. Boss, what's wrong? So what if we find Shuang? She's already sealed her memories and doesn't recognize me at all. Unless I have a way to undo her seal. Even you don't have a way? He shrugged helplessly. If he had a way to help Shuang, he would definitely find her first. He felt very helpless, but he suppressed his reluctance. Boss, are Nangong Yin, Master Godly Mathematician, Duan Hun, and Hao Lin friends or foes? This was what Blackie was most concerned about. In Blackie's eyes, Nangong Yin and the others were the most powerful existences. HMPH, friend or foe? Apart from Master Godly Mathematician, who's clearly my enemy, the others are just pretending to be my enemy. Do you think they're my friend or foe? Needless to say, Little Black already knew what Boss meant. Boss, I also want to ask, what was the peak of your strength in your previous life? Reincarnation. Half a step into the Chaos Grand Tao, but because I couldn't break through the 8th revolution of the 9-revolution chaos formula, I didn't succeed. Reincarnation? Half a step into the Chaos Grand Tao? Blackie was very helpless because he didn't know what the reincarnation realm and half a step into the Chaos Grand Tao meant. Blackie didn't continue asking. He looked at the 99 pillars that had already disappeared and asked, Boss, where should we go now? The reason why I chose to leave the 99 pillars in the Chaos Star realm was because even Nangong Yin and the others can't enter this place. What did that mean? But after thinking about it, he understood. The Chaos Star realm had a strength restriction. Only cultivators below the God Emperor level could enter. Even if Nangong Yin and the others were powerful, they couldn't force their way in. Blackie admired Boss. Even in his previous life, he had already set up everything and successfully awakened his primordial spirit in this life. Let's go. Longao quickly left with Blackie. You dare to act against me? Don't tell me. Before Kang Lin could finish speaking, the several dozen god kings in the surroundings began to attack once again. They did not give Kang Lin any chance to speak. Kang Lin was a mid-stage god king and had also entered the chaotic star realm to train. Kang Lin's luck wasn't good. She just had to meet her enemies and be surrounded by dozens of people. It was obvious what this meant. Among the 12 people, there were 6 middle divine kings, 5 high divine kings and 1 peak divine king. Under the continuous siege, gradually, Kang Lin began to lose her resistance. Poochie. Kang Lin spat out a mouthful of blood as her body flew backwards like a kite with its string cut. Right at this moment, a figure arrived in the blink of an eye and caught Kang Lin, who had been sent flying, in his arms. He was startled. When Kang Lin saw the person hugging her, she was dumbfounded. I must be dreaming. You're not dreaming. Kang Lin, it's me. I really didn't expect to meet you here. Longao was pleasantly surprised. He really didn't expect to meet his confidant here. When Kang Lin was taken away by some expert, he had already guessed that Kang Lin might be from the chaotic world. It seemed like his guess was right. Not only that, Longao was certain that Kang Lin's identity wasn't simple. No matter what, it was fortunate to meet Kang Lin here. Longao, leave quickly. They are from the Devil Palace. Devil Palace? Hearing Kang Lin's words, Longao naturally knew what the Devil Palace meant, and he was similarly shocked. The current him was no longer the same as before. Along with the awakening of his origin spirit, he already had a completely new concept and understanding of the entire chaos dimension. Needless to say, the Devil Palace's strength could even be compared to superforces like the Pill Hall and the Domain Lords Alliance. Moreover, the Devil Palace's nature was different. The entire primal chaos world saw the Devil Palace's martial artists as Devil Dao martial artists. Everyone had the right to kill them. Don't worry, leave this to me. You're no match for them. In Kang Lin's opinion, it was a miracle that Longao could come to the chaotic world in such a short period of time. Moreover, it was a joke that he could contend against God King experts. Longao didn't even know if he could break through to the Middle God Realm, let alone contend against God King experts. Longao smiled and said, "Don't worry, it's fine." The only peak God King among the 12 God Kings, Yi Bei, sneered and said, "A mere higher god dares to challenge the Devil Palace." Longao's cultivation had reached the early God King level. It was just that he had concealed his strength. Therefore, in the eyes of others, he was only a higher god. Even so, Kang Lin was shocked. Of course, she could sense that Longao had broken through to the higher god realm. How long had it been? With such talent, there was probably no one in the entire chaotic world who could compare to him. Thinking of this, Kang Lin was excited. However, she was more worried. No matter what, among the 12 people in front of her, the weakest was a mid-god king and there was even a peak god king. With such strength, not to mention joining forces, any one of them could easily destroy Longao. It would be a lie to say that she wasn't worried. Longao, leave quickly. Kang Lin's injuries were severe. She couldn't even move. If Longao was in danger because of her, she would feel guilty even if she died. Longao just smiled. He looked at the people in front of him and said coldly, "You dare to hurt my woman. All of you deserve to die. Sister Lin, don't worry. Big Brother is no longer the same as before. Even if he can't kill them, it's impossible for them to destroy Boss." Was that really the case? Kang Lin was still worried in her heart. However, since things had come to this, she could only pray that Longao would be safe. Otherwise, she knew what the consequences would be. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Yi Bei and the others laughed out maniacally. Their laughter was filled with endless mockery and disdain. In the next second, a mid-god king appeared behind Yi Bei and used a killing move. Against a mere higher god, if they couldn't end the battle quickly, where would they put their face? To them, this was a great humiliation. But, what was the outcome? Chapter 30-20. Boom. There was a loud explosion. Without waiting for this middle-rank divine king to react, he was already directly insta-killed by Longao. Killing a god king in a single move. What sort of concept was this? Was this a mystique that a higher god could possess? Whether it was Kang Lin or Yi Bei, they were all dumbfounded. "You dare to kill someone from my Devil Palace?" Yi Bei was enraged. To the Devil Palace, this was a huge humiliation. He had lost all his face. Looking at the figure that was resisting the god kings of the Devil Palace, Kang Lin could not help but sigh. Was this still that Longao? Kang Lin finally realized that she did not recognize Longao anymore. Longao is not a higher god. Blackie laughed and said, "Boss has long broken through to the god king realm. Killing a god king is no different from killing an ant." She was filled with emotions. However, Kang Lin was happy in her heart. The stronger Longao was, the happier she was. Devil Palace? Longao laughed coldly and said nonchalantly, "So what if you're from the Devil Palace? In my eyes, you're all trash." Yi Bei was enraged. Even though there were many in the Chaos world who were unwilling to acknowledge the existence of the Devil Palace, No one dared to slander them in front of them. This person before him was truly courting death. So what if he was a god king? In front of the devil palace, god kings were nothing more than ants. I can't help but admire your courage. I hope you don't regret it. Regret? Blackie, he said, not to make me regret it. F***ck. You dare to try to trick my boss? I'll devour you. All of a sudden, Blackie's body suddenly expanded. In the blink of an eye, he had expanded to the size of a super god beast. After breaking through to the god king realm, Blackie's strength and heaven-devouring mystique had increased by quite a bit. What is this thing? Hurry up and leave. Ever since Blackie broke through to the god king realm, he could devour high-level god kings. Out of the remaining 11, there was only one peak god king. What sort of concept was this? Longao did not stay idle. He engaged in a huge battle with Yi Bei. Even if he could not kill Yi Bei, he had to hold him back. Dozens of god king martial artists were still very powerful. If Blackie could devour this huge power, it would be very beneficial for Blackie to refine the inheritance. Sir, there is no need for you to get involved in this flood. I can guarantee that as long as you are willing to show mercy, today's grudge will be written off. How about it? Seeing his men being devoured by this divine beast one by one, Yi Bei was completely anxious. He chose to compromise. Ha ha ha, you want to beg for mercy? How could Longao let Yi Bei and the others off so easily? In his opinion, regardless of whether it was righteous Dao martial artists or demon palace martial artists, they were all the same. However, Kang Lin had almost died in the other party's hands. If he didn't settle this debt, how could he face Kang Lin? There was only one word: kill. Blackie, of course, knew to end the battle quickly. After all, the longer this battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. End the battle quickly. In a short few minutes, Blackie had already devoured all 10 god kings, leaving none behind. Out of the 12 god kings, only Yi Bei was left. Blackie had just finished devouring and immediately came to assist Longao. One man and one beast, one from the left and one from the right, began to attack Yi Bei frantically. One had to admit that a peak god king's strength was indeed very strong. If it was an advanced god king, Yi Bei would still be able to deal with the pincer attack of one man and one beast. However, even so, Yi Bei didn't have any carelessness. After seeing the divine beast's terrifying devouring power, it would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. A divine beast could devour 10 god kings in a short few minutes. Even he couldn't do it. Such terrifying power was unbelievable. Yi Bei didn't continue to resist and turned to leave. However, Blackie and Longao didn't give up on pursuing Yi Bei. However, at this moment, Kang Lin's injuries seemed to have worsened. She was unwilling to accept this. However, in order to take care of Kang Lin, Longao and Blackie could only watch as Yi Bei fled. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. Sister Lin, are you all right? Kang Lin shook her head with a pale face and said with a smile, I'm fine. I really didn't expect that after not seeing you for a few years, you have already reached the God King realm. I'm very happy. He immediately took out a few elixirs and said, Sister Lin, take these elixirs and recuperate for a while. Kang Lin didn't stand on ceremony and immediately took the elixirs to recuperate. A few hours later, Kang Lin slowly opened her eyes and said with a smile, Your elixirs are really overbearing. In just a few hours, more than half of my injuries have healed. At most, in 1 or 2 days, my injuries will be completely healed. Don't worry. Hearing Kang Lin's words, Longao finally felt relieved. He asked with a smile, Sister Lin, I've already come to the chaotic realm. Can you tell me about you? Longao had always been curious about this matter. However, he didn't ask back then. After all, he wasn't qualified to ask why Kang Lin would appear in the vast starry sky. Brother Long, have you heard of the Domain Lord Alliance? I have. Longao guessed something when he heard the words Domain Lord Alliance. If he was right, Sister Lin should be related to the Domain Lord Alliance. As expected. I believe you've already guessed it. That's right, I come from the Domain Lord Alliance, and my father is the leader of the Domain Lord Alliance. Back then, I was plotted against by the people in the Domain Lord Alliance who opposed my father. Fortunately, I was sealed in the crystal coffin and forcefully opened up space to enter the vast starry sky. Otherwise, Kang Lin did not continue when she reached there, but her meaning was very clear. Longao had already guessed what Kang Lin meant. It was obvious that someone who could oppose the leader of the Domain Lord Alliance had to be powerful and powerful. Sister Lin, can you tell me who that person is? How could Kang Lin not know what Longao was thinking? She naturally wouldn't let Longao take the risk. Brother Long, don't interfere in this matter. My father will naturally deal with him. This time, I entered the chaotic star domain to train. If nothing unexpected happens, it's definitely him who notified the Demon Palace to deal with me. Once I return to the Domain Lord Alliance, I'll settle this score. Since Sister Lin was unwilling to say more, Longao didn't continue asking. He knew very well that he didn't have the qualifications to know this with his current strength. It was better to wait until his strength increased in the future. That was the key. I'll accompany you to train. Okay. Kang Lin naturally wouldn't refuse. After so many years, Longao was her first man, and she had already entrusted her entire body and mind to Longao. Chapter 3021. First Heavenly Region. The Domain Lord Alliance was one of the strongest factions in the entire Chaos Realm. Of the 99 heavenly regions in the Chaos Realm, 95% of the Domain Lords were arranged by the Domain Lord Alliance. This obviously showed how formidable the strength of the Domain Lords Alliance was. In the study, the leader of the Domain Lord Alliance, who was Kang Lin's father, Kang Hao, had an ugly expression. Kang Lin's second uncle, Kang Han, said angrily, "I've long guessed that Shi was behind what happened back then. Big brother, you've been biding your time. Great, Shi is getting worse." Shi was the Domain Lord Alliance's Grand Elder. In the Domain Lord Alliance, there was only one person who dared to go against the Alliance Lord. There's no evidence for what happened back then. If we act rashly and fail, you can imagine the consequences. Kang Han couldn't care less. When he thought about how his nephew had almost died in the starry sky plane, he felt a deep lingering fear. The reason Lin was able to avoid a calamity back then was because of the crystal coffin you gave her. Otherwise, it's a little hard to imagine. Kang Han waved his hand. Kang Hao said helplessly, "Shi's power isn't what it used to be. Even you and I don't have full confidence in suppressing him." How could Kang Han not know what his big brother was talking about? Even so, he was still unwilling to accept it. "Big brother, if there's a first time, there will be a second time, a third time. Lin will be in danger if Shi attacks again." The Chaos Star domain was already full of danger. If Shi's persecution was added, it was obvious what the outcome would be. Before Kang Hao could finish, Kang Han added, "I've already sent hundreds of God Kings to the Chaos Star domain. Lin doesn't know about this at all. Thank you. You and I are brothers. There's no need for this." Kang Hao was very grateful to his second brother. His second brother had helped him a lot. Otherwise, things would have been worse. "Big brother, in my opinion, we should get rid of this person as soon as possible. Otherwise, Shi will definitely deal with us next." At this moment. "Alliance Lord, the Grand Elder has something to discuss. He wants to see you in the hall." Hearing the servant's report, the two of them were very curious. They didn't know why Shi had suddenly come at this time. "Big brother," Shi suddenly asked for an audience. "Seems like there is something fishy going on. Let's go." Domain Lords Alliance. Inside the main hall, Shi was an old man with the demeanor of a transcendent being, and he gave others a very benevolent feeling. However, in the Domain Lords Alliance and even the entire primal chaos dimension, Shi's reputation was that he killed decisively. Shi's reputation had even surpassed that of Kang Hao, the leader of the Domain Lords Alliance. "Alliance Master, I have something to report." When he saw the Alliance Master appear, Shi didn't even bow. Kang Han's face instantly turned cold, and he said angrily, "Great Elder, why didn't you greet the Alliance Chief when you saw him?" This was too impudent. Shi sneered in his heart, but said, "The matter is urgent, so there's no need for formalities." Shi's meaning was very clear. Even if he didn't bow to him, what could he do? Kang Han was furious, but Kang Hao waved his hand and said with a smile, Great Elder is right. The matter is urgent, so there's no need for formalities. Great Elder, I don't know what urgent matter you have. Since his big brother had said so, Kang Han could only give up. He sat alone and stared angrily at the Great Elder. The Great Elder chose to ignore him. I just received news that the Demon Palace is preparing to do something to our Domain Lords Alliance, and they've already sent people to the Primal Chaos Star Realm to deal with young Miss Demon Palace. I'll destroy them. Second brother. Big brother. Calm down. Kang Han couldn't understand why his big brother was always so calm. After all, Kang Lin was his daughter. Was his big brother really going to give up on his nephew? Both Kang Hao and Kang Han knew very well that the Demon Palace's sudden move to deal with Lin was most likely related to the Great Elder. However, they didn't have any evidence, so they couldn't blame the Great Elder. Great Elder, what do you think we should do? Fight. The two of them were very curious. If the Great Elder was really related to the Demon Palace, why did he want to fight? What was the reason? No matter how they thought about it, the two of them could only come up with one reason, and that was that the Great Elder wanted to reap the benefits of the battle between them and the Devil Palace. At that time, regardless of whether they won or lost the battle, the Great Elder would be able to step up and clean up the mess. This matter is very important. We can't be too hasty. Let me think about it. Shisai didn't care about anything else. He had waited for so many years, and he couldn't wait any longer. This time, he could borrow the power of the Demon Palace to eliminate Kang Hao and Kang Hao. At that time, he could replace them and become the new leader of the Domain Lords Alliance. Alliance leader, just now, I've already given the order to declare war on the Demon Palace. Shisai, how dare you privately issue an order to declare war on the Demon Palace? It seems like you don't take the Alliance leader seriously. Not to mention Kang Han, even Kang Hao couldn't stand it. He said coldly, Second brother, pass down my order. Immediately stop the war with the Demon Palace. Whoever dares to fight without permission will be expelled from the Domain Lords Alliance and killed without mercy. Alliance leader. Shut up. Kang Hao was really angry. He could tolerate other things, but this was the only thing he couldn't tolerate. If this matter wasn't stopped in time, it was obvious what the consequences would be. Kang Han didn't continue waiting. He knew how serious this matter was. Once this matter spread, the Great Elder's prestige would instantly skyrocket. At that time, he and his brother would be in a passive position. After Kang Han left, Kang Hao said coldly, Shisai, you've gone too far. Shisai was furious. How could he not know that the alliance leader of the Domain Lords Alliance was always Kang Hao and not him? Once the order was passed down, the war would immediately stop. No one would dare to go against the alliance leader's order, especially such an order. Seems like the alliance leader wants to shed all pretense of cordiality with me. Shisai, I know what happened back then was my fault. However, your son's death was indeed an accident. Why do you have to implicate me? Before Kang Hao could finish his words, a terrifying killing intent erupted from Shisai's body. He said furiously, Kang Hao, you know best whether what happened back then had anything to do with you. The position of alliance leader originally belonged to my son. It's only right for me to take it back. Kang Hao felt helpless. No matter what he said back then, the Great Elder wouldn't let the matter rest. Chapter 3022. Shusha was furious. He turned around and left. In the main hall. Big brother, the matter is settled. You're still the leader of the Domain Lord Alliance. No one dares to disobey you. Shusha can't wait to get rid of us and replace us. Mph, it's still unknown who will win. If he wants to come, we'll just fight him. Different situations call for different actions. Kang Han wasn't afraid of Shusha at all. If they really fought, their chances of winning were very high. What happened back then was indeed related to me. If it wasn't for me, big brother, Shusha's son rebelled and wanted to replace you as the leader. He deserved to die. It has nothing to do with big brother. Forget it. Let's deal with the current situation first. Kang Hao wasn't a fool. Although he had already given the order that the Domain Lord Alliance wouldn't take the initiative to start a war, it didn't mean that the Demon Palace would give up. Once the Demon Palace attacked, would he really just sit there and wait for death? In the chaotic star realm. Sister Lin, congratulations. Longao was pleasantly surprised. He never expected that Sister Lin would benefit from this disaster. Not only did she recover from her injuries, but she also broke through again and reached the high-level God King realm. Sister Lin was only one step away from reaching the peak God King realm. Kang Lin was also pleasantly surprised. It's all thanks to your elixirs. The stronger Kang Lin was, the happier Longao was. He immediately took out hundreds of bottles and said, Sister Lin, these are all elixirs. They're very beneficial to you. Keep them all. What do you want if you give them all to me? I still have a lot. Take them. Since things had already come to this, Kang Lin didn't continue to be polite. She immediately took all the bottles and was shocked by what she saw. Sister Lin, take them quickly. Boss is a powerful 5th-level alchemist and is about to become a 6th-level alchemist. He has as many elixirs as you want. Kang Lin was shocked again when she heard Blackie's words. Brother Long, are you really a 5th-level alchemist? Seeing Longao nod, Kang Lin was pleasantly surprised. Of course, she knew what it meant for a 5th-level alchemist to become a 6th-level alchemist. It's really good. Such heaven-defying talent was simply unheard of. Boss, I've locked onto Yi Bei's position. At this moment, Xiao Hei suddenly said in surprise, his face full of excitement. Where? It's not very far from us. Kang Lin was shocked. She didn't know what the two of them were trying to do. Why would they lock onto Yi Bei's position for no reason? Although Longao and Little Hei were powerful, Yi Bei's strength was still there. Even if the three of them joined forces, they might not be able to kill Yi Bei. Since that was the case, why waste time like this? As if he could guess what Sister Lin was thinking, Longao said, if Yi Bei dares to go against you, no matter who he is, no matter how strong he is, no matter where he is, I will kill him. It's just Yi Bei's strength. Blackie smiled and said, Sister Lin, you don't have to worry. I forgot to tell you that other than being a level 5 alchemist, Boss is also a level 5 array master. If we have enough time to set up a level 5 array master, we can even kill a peak divine king. 5th level array master? Kang Lin was completely stunned. Was this true? How long had it been? In just a few decades, Longao's cultivation had not only broken through to the divine king realm, but he had also cultivated both alchemy and array master. Whether it was array master or alchemy, they had both broken through to the level 5 realm. What kind of concept was this? Even though Kang Lin saw it with her own eyes, she was still shocked. She didn't say anything else. Since he was a level 5 array master, he could kill Yi Bei. After locking onto Yi Bei's position, Longao immediately began to set up the array master. However, it wasn't easy to lure Yi Bei into the array master. Boss, although this array master can kill a peak divine king, it can't be moved. Yi Bei isn't a fool. How can he be fooled so easily? How could Longao not know what Blackie meant? This was also the most troublesome part for him. Boss, can't you set up a moving array master? He shrugged helplessly. Not to mention that I'm only a level 5 array master, even a level 7 array master, level 8 or level 9 array master wouldn't be able to set up a mobile array master. If someone could set up a mobile array master, the array master would be able to kill enemies above his level. In the entire chaotic realm, there were countless array masters, but none of them could set up a moving array master. It was unrealistic to say that he didn't want to set up such a array master. Blackie said, Boss, since you have the chaotic Dantian, if you set up the array master in your chaotic Dantian, won't you be able to shift the array master to face the enemy? His words woke Yi Bei up. Ha ha ha, good, I'll try. I'll try it right away. Although Longao didn't know if this method was feasible, it was still a method. If it could really succeed, then it would be of great benefit to his strength. What are you laughing about? Kang Lin, who had just walked over, asked curiously when she saw the man and beast laughing. Longao didn't hide anything from Kang Lin and told her about the situation. So that was it. Kang Lin said in surprise, quickly try it. If you can really set up a moving array master, you'll be the number one under the Divine Emperor realm. The real number one. A level 5 array master with the strength of a beginner Divine King was terrifying enough to kill any warrior under the Divine Emperor realm. Even a peak Divine King wouldn't be able to resist Longao. Longao didn't hesitate and immediately entered the chaotic palace to set up the array master. He had never thought of setting up an array master in his chaotic dantian. If Blackie hadn't reminded him, he probably wouldn't have thought of it. Even in his previous life, he wasn't an array master. The speed of setting up the array master was very fast. Longao was a level 5 array master, and setting up a level 5 array master was a walk in the park. In order to see if the array master could move, Longao first set up the simplest level 5 array master. In just a few minutes, the level 5 array master was set up. The most crucial step, whether the array master could move or not, depended on the next step. Not only Longao, but even Blackie and Kang Lin were a little nervous. They knew very well what a moving array master meant to Longao. Brother Long, quickly try and see if you can move the array master. Boss, quickly try. I hope you can succeed. Chapter 3023. Moving dozens of meters away, Longao released his grade 5 formation to see if it would work. Blackie and Kang Lin watched on nervously. Anticipation. Anticipation for the success of the movement formation. Once the movement formation succeeded, Longao would truly be the number one person below the God Emperor realm. Ha ha ha. Boss is really awesome. I'm convinced. Blackie burst out laughing maniacally. Within his laughter, there was an endless amount of joy. He had not expected that Boss would really succeed. After all, he was just giving it a try earlier on. Kang Lin was excited as well. Sensing the arrival of the formation, Longao was elated as well. Now that the formation within his chaotic dantian was no longer restricted by location, he no longer had to be wary of peak God Kings. Below the God Emperor realm, he would be invincible together with Blackie. Boss, congratulations. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Kang Lin chuckled out as well. I'm relieved now. Longao tried his best to contain the joy in his heart as he said immediately, Blackie, bring me to Yi Bei. All right. When Yi Bei left earlier on, Blackie had already left an aura on him. Therefore, as long as Yi Bei wasn't too far away from them, Blackie would be able to lock onto his position. Even if Yi Bei was beaten to death, he would never have thought that he would be locked onto by someone. At the end of the day, it was still because Yi Bei did not take the other party seriously. Since he had already left, he believed that as long as the other party wasn't a fool, they would definitely not chase after him. Very soon, Longao and the other two had already locked onto Yi Bei. Right now, Yi Bei could be considered to be extremely frustrated. To think that he would lose so many God Kings just like that while roaming around alone, it was impossible for him to not be frustrated. He was helpless. As the pride of the Devil Palace, Yi Bei had truly not expected that he would meet with something as such one day. Who is it? Stopping suddenly, he looked before him and asked coldly. Yi Bei could not figure it out. As a peak God King, to think that there would be someone who would dare to tail him, this person must be tired of living. Could the other party be a peak God King as well? Looking at the three people who had suddenly appeared before him, Yi Bei's face changed. He would rather meet a peak God King than face this man and beast. Just what do you guys want? Yi Bei was afraid. A dignified peak Divine King was afraid. If this matter were to spread out, probably no one would believe it. I want to ask, why are you targeting my woman? Longao appeared very domineering. Previously, he had not been fully confident. However, now that he was able to set up an array formation in his chaotic dantian and move the array formation, Longao's confidence skyrocketed. Killing Yi Bei was not a difficult task. If it was before, Yi Bei would definitely not say anything. But now, the situation was completely different. Sha. With just 2 words, Yi Bei had already chosen to compromise. Hearing Sha-Sha's name, Kang Lin wasn't surprised at all. She had already guessed that the Demon Palace's Demon Dao cultivators were chasing after her for no reason and were even able to lock onto her position. If someone were to say that no one had reported this to her, she wouldn't believe it even if she was beaten to death. Longao didn't know who Shasha was. He didn't ask Kang Lin. He knew very well that even if he asked, Kang Lin wouldn't tell him. Why waste time and do something superfluous? Who is Shasha? Little brother Long, don't ask anymore. Longao didn't look at Kang Lin. Instead, he was glaring at Yi Bei. The killing intent on his body seemed to have materialized as it pressed down fiercely. Yi Bei was curious. Since the both of them were together, why didn't the other party know about Shasha? Under such circumstances, Yi Bei wasn't willing to continue provoking the other party. Shasha is the Grand Elder of the Domain Lords Alliance. Longao wasn't surprised at all. After all, anyone who could go against the Alliance Master of the Domain Lords Alliance would know the identity of the other party. Can I leave now? Yi Bei didn't want to linger for even a single minute. The moment he thought of the scene of the god beast devouring dozens of his god kings, he was a little fearful. If he were to fight to the death, even if he could kill the other party, he wouldn't have it easy. But, the outcome? Longao and Xiao Hei laughed coldly. This was especially the case for Xiao Hei, who laughed out, "You still want to live? How dare you go against my big sister Lin? Today shall be the day you die. Ha 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 ha." With just the two of you. Yi Bei had already realized that the other party wasn't going to let this go just like that. Since that was the case, why should he continue to cower? He was going to have to fight anyway. Before Longao and Xiao Hei could strike, Yi Bei took a step forward and darted out. Before he even arrived, his horrifying power had already arrived. Yi Bei had already made up his mind to kill. The only way to resolve this matter was to get this over with as soon as possible. Longao laughed out coldly. Immediately after, a horrifying power burst forth from his chaotic dantian. A super level 5 formation descended and caged Yi Bei within it. Level 5 formation. You're a formation master? Yi Bei was scared out of his wits. He had not expected the other party to be a formation master, and a level 5 one at that. Naturally, he knew what a level 5 formation master meant. Not daring to linger any longer, he turned around and left. But right now, Longao had already seized the initiative. He entered the formation with Xiao Hei and started attacking Yi Bei wildly. In order to deal with Yi Bei, Longao had spent an entire day and night to set up this level 5 pinnacle formation. It was all for the sake of being foolproof. There was no suspense. Looking at the corpse on the ground, although Xiao Hei and Kang Lin had already guessed that Longao would be extremely powerful if he could set up a movement formation, they were still shocked to see it with their own eyes. After all, this was a peak divine king. Sister Lin, is this Shasha the one who harmed you back then? She originally didn't want to speak about it, but since it had come to this, Kang Lin didn't continue concealing it. She nodded and said, "Yes, it's Shasha. He's an elder of the Domain Lords Alliance. His son and my father fought for the position of Alliance Master, and they unfortunately perished. Since then, Shasha has taken my father to be his enemy. Not only does he want to avenge his son, but he also wants to seize the position of Alliance Master." I see. Of course, Longao did not care about who was right or wrong. The only thing he was concerned about was that Shasha actually wanted to harm Kang Lin. This was absolutely impossible. If that was the case, Kang Lin would be in grave danger once she returned to the Domain Lords Alliance, even with the protection of the Alliance leader. "Sister Lin, you'll be my companion in the future. Wait until we're strong enough to go against Shasha before you return." With regards to Longao's intention, how could Kang Lin not know? She said with a bitter face, "Brother Long, I know you are worried about me. However, Shasha's strength is already exceedingly high. He has reached the realm of peak Emperor God. Even father doesn't have the confidence to defeat Shasha, let alone you and me. Peak Divine Emperor Realm?" Chapter 30-24. Longao knew what it meant to be a peak Emperor God. If he was at his peak, dealing with a peak Emperor God would be a piece of cake. But now, although he had awakened his primordial spirit, his current strength was still insufficient. It was impossible to deal with a divine emperor, let alone a peak Emperor God. No wonder Sister Lin was so solemn. Longao said, "Sister Lin, what do you think of my talent?" "Very strong. I'm afraid no one can compare to you." This was a very impressive evaluation because Kang Lin had seen countless geniuses, but she had never seen a genius like her brother Long. Not only had he become a god king in a few short decades, but he had also become a 5th-level array master and a 5th-level alchemist. What kind of concept was that? Sister Lin, I believe I can avenge you very soon. Kang Lin had no doubts about Longao's talent and potential. It was just that it was easier said than done to reach the Emperor God realm. If it was that easy, there wouldn't be so few Emperor gods in the entire chaotic world. She didn't say anything else. Longao didn't continue to dwell on it. In his opinion, it was useless to say more. It was better to be practical. After killing Yi Bei, Longao and Kang Lin continued to train. Longao had awakened his primordial spirit, but he couldn't obtain the power of his peak. He had to take it step by step to reach his peak. The first thing he had to do was to break through to the peak Emperor God realm. Only then could he reach the Divine Emperor realm as soon as possible. Longao was already a beginner Divine King while Kang Lin was a high Divine King. As the two of them were devouring elixirs, they were also mastering the power of space. They hoped to break through in the shortest time possible. Sister Lin, wait. What's wrong? We've been targeted. Longao was surprised. Since someone had sent themselves to him, he wouldn't be polite. Little Black continued to devour and refine the energy. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before Little Black reached the peak of the God King realm. Who is it? I don't know, but there's killing intent towards us. Longao and Kang Lin were still unable to guess the other party's origins. However, since they dared to lock onto 2 God Kings and a God King spirit beast, it was easy to imagine how powerful they were. Wait. Longao did not take the initiative to attack. Instead, he was preparing to lure the snake out of its hole. Both sides were in a stalemate. Time passed. The two of them did not mind at all. Instead, they continued to train and strive to break through as soon as possible. Big Sister Lin, did the Domain Lord Alliance send someone to follow you? What do you mean? Kang Lin was very curious. She didn't know what Brother Long meant. Now, another group of people has appeared. Not only do they not have any killing intent towards us, they are even staring at the other group of people. Kang Lin seemed to have thought of something and said helplessly, it should be someone sent by second uncle. So that was the case. Longao was no fool. He had already guessed what Lin meant. If that was the case, then a wave of people who had murderous intent towards the two of them would not appear so casually. The First Heavenly Region. Domain Lords Alliance. The Demon Palace also sent out orders to attack, directly destroying Shesha's opportunity. It would be a lie to say that they weren't furious. At this moment, Shesha finally knew how powerful his status in the Domain Lord Alliance was. He was still inferior to the Alliance Master. The Alliance Master immediately ordered the Domain Lord Alliance to stop attacking. Shesha couldn't help but be filled with murderous intent when he thought that his son had died because of Kang Hao. Kang Hao, no matter what price I have to pay, I want you to pay with your blood. Go down and accompany my son. Moreover, your position as the Alliance Master will be mine. Of course, Shesha wouldn't let it go. He would not stop until he killed Kang Hao. However, before dealing with Kang Hao, Shesha was prepared to deal with Kang Hao's only child, Kang Lin. How is it? Reporting to Great Elder, the people we sent out have sent back news. They said that there is another group of people helping Kang Lin. They dare not act rashly. Another group of people? Shesha obviously knew what the so-called other group of people meant. If he wasn't wrong, it should be from Kang Hao and Kang Hao. Humph. Shesha snorted coldly. So what if there were 2 people? He had failed to kill Kang Lin previously. This time, he had to kill her no matter what. He wanted to let them have a taste of what it felt like to lose a child. Let the mother and child ghosts enter the chaotic star domain. Yes. There were a total of 10 of them, 1 mother and 9 children. They were all supreme existences above peak divine kings. Similar to Nangong Fengyun, they could kill early divine emperors. If the 10 of them worked together, they could even kill mid-divine emperors. It could be said that the mother and child ghosts were Shesha's strongest killing move below the divine emperor realm. It was a secret killing move specially used to deal with people below the Divine Emperor realm. Chaotic Star Domain. 1 woman and 9 men quickly entered the Chaotic Star Domain. They didn't form a team with anyone. Where are they? Reporting to Lord, they are not far away. However, there is another group of people blocking us. We can't do anything. The mother ghost didn't seem to care. She sneered and said, let's deal with the others first. With the help of the mother and child ghosts, none of the hundreds of martial artists that Kang Han had sent out were left alive. As for the Chaotic Star Domain, they had only lost 70% of their forces. There were less than 30 God Kings left. As for the loss of 60 God Kings, the mother and child ghosts were not bothered in the least bit. They only had a single mission, and that was to kill Kang Lin. As for everything else, they couldn't care less. Even if all the God Kings were to die, it wouldn't have anything to do with them, let alone 60 God Kings. After cleaning up the trouble, the mother and child ghost brought along more than 30 God Kings and stopped Longao and the other 2. Looking at Kang Lin in front of them, the mother ghost sneered and said, young miss, long time no see. How have you been? Looking at the sudden appearance of the 10 people, Kang Lin was stunned. You guys want to deal with me? Do you know the consequences? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Consequences? Once you're dead, nothing here will be leaked out. Furthermore, it won't be long before your father goes down to accompany you. Our Lord is a formidable person. Do you think that your father is a match for our Lord? The intentions of the mother ghost were clear. However, since they had dared to come, they had no intention of hiding their identities. After all, the other party was going to be a dead person soon. This matter wouldn't be leaked out. What hideous people. To think that people like you guys can still live in this world. What a miracle. Hearing Longao's words, Kang Lin was shocked. Chapter 3025. Brother Long, be careful. Others might not know the strength of the mother and child ghosts, but how could Kang Lin not know? It was understandable that Longao was the strongest under the Divine Emperor realm. However, the mother and child ghost situation was very different. Once the 10 of them joined forces, their strength was comparable to a mid-level Divine Emperor. Because of this, Kang Lin never thought that Shi would send the mother and child ghosts to deal with her. After listening to Kang Lin's spiritual sense transmission, Longao was a little surprised. Of course, he knew what Kang Lin meant. Seeking death. Mother, let me tear him into pieces. I want to swallow him alive. The mother ghost waved her hand and said, all of you, go. The mother ghost was not a fool. The other party dared to be so arrogant, either he really had the strength or his brain was flooded with water. The other party obviously did not have water in his brain, then he must have something to rely on. Since there was a scapegoat, it would be a waste not to use it. How could the 30 of them not know what the mother ghost meant, but they had no choice. Even if they knew, they could only bite the bullet and go. Just as the 30 of them were about to rush over, they were immediately shrouded by an air cover and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Leave the peak Divine Kings to me, swallow the rest. Okay. Blackie stepped into the array excitedly. Except for the peak Divine Kings, he could swallow the rest of the Divine Kings. He would swallow them one by one. Over 30 Divine Kings were simply a great supplement to the current Blackie. The mother and child ghosts' faces changed when they saw the array that suddenly appeared in front of them. They were indeed invincible under the Divine Emperor realm. But they were only afraid of array masters. No matter what, array masters could not be judged by common sense. No wonder this person was so arrogant, he had something to rely on. So it's a 5th level array master, very good. The mother ghost sneered. She did not care about the 30 of them trapped in the array. It was still the same sentence. She did not care about the life and death of others, as long as she could complete the task. All of a sudden, whether it was the mother ghost or the 9 children ghosts, they began to roar towards the sky. Their voices were extremely eerie and terrifying, giving people a very ear-piercing feeling. What were the 10 of them doing? Seeing the 10 people in front of him suddenly let out a series of eerie roars, Longao was very curious. He wondered if the 10 people were scared silly. But in the next moment, Let's go. With Kang Lin in tow, Longao instantly entered his dantian. As for Little Hay, he had already entered the array. He believed that the 10 of them would not be able to harm Little Hay. Even now, Longao still felt a lingering fear. This mother-child ghost was truly terrifying. If he hadn't brought Kang Lin away in time, the 2 of them would have suffered a great loss. Just now, the roars of the mother ghost and the child ghost were very terrifying. My primordial spirit was almost shattered by them. That's right. This roar can indeed scatter a cultivator's primordial spirit. If he hadn't awakened his primordial spirit, Longao definitely wouldn't have known what the screams of the mother and child ghosts were. But now, the situation was completely different. If I'm not wrong, the screams of the mother and child ghosts should belong to an extremely rare sound wave attack. It can shatter a cultivator's primordial spirit. It wouldn't be a problem to kill a cultivator of a higher realm. It seems that the 10 of them together can even kill a divine emperor. Sound waves were not suppressed by the power of space. Hearing Longao's explanation, Kang Lin was also shocked. What a terrifying mother-child ghost. Is there no way to break it? There is. What is it? Hearing that there was a way to deal with the mother-child ghost's sound wave attack, Kang Lin was very surprised and could not wait to ask. No matter what, the mother-child ghost was Shusha's people. If they could kill it, it would be a very good thing. Array. Longao's intention was actually very simple. He wanted to use the array to deal with the 10 people. After all, the sound wave attack of the 10 people was too terrifying. Not to mention them now, even a middle-level divine emperor would not be a match for the 10 people. The only way was to use the array to deal with the 10 people. The reason was very simple. Within the array, Longao was the master and could completely block the sound wave attack. It could be said that, as long as he could successfully lure the 10 people into the array, Longao had full confidence that he could successfully kill the 10 people. If it was before, Longao would not have any way to deal with special warriors like the mother-child ghost. After all, as long as the 10 people were not stupid, how could they casually step into the array? But now, the situation was completely different. The array that he had arranged could be moved. It was not difficult to trap the 10 people. No matter what, we have to give it a try. After Longao and Kang Lin left the chaotic dantian and entered the array, they came to help Xiao Hei deal with the 30 divine king warriors. Under the terrifying level 5 array, not to mention the ordinary divine king warriors, even peak divine king warriors would not be able to withstand it. The 10 people's faces were gloomy and as ugly as they could be. This was because they had already guessed that Longao must have entered the spatial artifact. Most importantly, they were unable to lock onto Longao's position. This was the most depressing matter. They didn't care about Kang Lin's life or death at all. The only thing they cared about was Kang Lin. The mission given to them by their lord this time was to kill Kang Lin no matter the cost. If they couldn't accomplish this task, it was obvious what the outcome would be when they returned. Mother, what should we do now? Chemph. Although this person brought Kang Lin to hide in the spatial artifact, I am certain that they have not left this place. Therefore, we only need to lock onto the surrounding space. The mother-child ghost would not choose to give up. They did not need to enter this place to train. They only needed to guard this place and think of ways to kill Kang Lin. As for other matters, she did not care at all. The 9 children nodded and immediately split up to guard a position. The 10 people did not care about the life or death of the 30 divine king warriors. Just like that, an hour later, the 30 people that were forcefully trapped in the array were all killed and devoured by Xiao Hei. Boss, are we going to deal with the mother-child ghost now? After devouring everyone, Xiao Hei did not even have the time to refine them. He was already impatient to go out and deal with the mother-child ghost. Let's go. The 3 of them left the array. The mother-child ghost looked at the 3 people that suddenly appeared and sneered, "Why do you need to get involved in this flood? We only want Kang Lin. You should know who the lord behind us is. Let me give you a piece of advice. It is best that you do not meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, you will not even have the chance to regret it." Chapter 30-26. Longao laughed. So did Little Hay. Are you joking with me? They didn't want to listen to the other party's nonsense and directly attacked the mother and child ghosts. The 10 of them didn't take Longao and Little Hay seriously at all. They had full confidence in their sound wave technique. As long as it wasn't a warrior above the high-level divine emperor, they were not afraid at all. But the result? Before the 10 of them could release the so-called sound wave technique, they were directly enveloped by the terrifying level 5 formation. Mobile formation. The 10 of them were completely dumbfounded and didn't know what had happened. It was well known. Although the formation master was powerful, the formation he set up couldn't be moved. Originally, the formation master could kill enemies above his level, let alone one against 100. If he could set up a mobile formation, it would be amazing. Because of this, the 10 of them didn't step into the formation set up by the other party. But now, a shocking scene happened and the 10 of them were completely stunned. They had never seen an formation master who could set up a mobile formation. Was this true? Even if they experienced it personally, they still found it hard to believe. Inside the formation. Mother Ghost, your sound wave technique is useless against me. I advise you to give up. How could the female ghost and the others not know that the other party's array formation had already reached the peak of the 5th level, just one step away from the 6th level? Such a powerful array formation, even if the 10 of them wanted to break it, it would not be an easy task. No wonder the other party dared to take the initiative to appear. It turned out that he had something to rely on. They were very angry. They had been hunting for years and were pecked by eagles. What do you want? Unable to use the sound wave technique, the 10 of them already knew that it was very unfavorable for them. If they forced themselves to fight, they would be the ones at a disadvantage in the end. In the end, they chose to compromise. Would Longao choose to compromise? It was completely a joke. Longao looked at the 10 of them coldly and said with endless murderous intent, "Since you want to kill my woman, then stay here." As soon as he finished speaking, Longao and Little Hay began to attack the 10 of them crazily. Coupled with the attack of the formation, it was really uncertain whether the 10 of them could withstand the double attack. We can choose to surrender. I don't need a dog. Longao really didn't need such people, especially those who wanted to deal with Kang Lin. They would definitely die. An hour later, the formation had already disappeared. Longao and the other 2 looked at the 10 corpses in front of them and sneered, "One day, I will personally go to the Domain Lord Alliance and meet this so-called Shusha." Longao suppressed the anger in his heart. The current him was still not the other party's match. Going to find trouble with Shusha now was simply striking a rock with an egg. Brother Long, you mustn't be reckless. Not only is Shusha powerful, but he also secretly possesses a powerful force. If it weren't for this, Father wouldn't have endured for so many years. Longao smiled. Sister Lin, don't worry. If I was still a reckless person, I would have died a long time ago. Don't worry, before I can move the stone, I won't casually search for it. Kang Lin didn't have the slightest doubt. Although she didn't know how Brother Long had survived all these years, she knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. For Brother Long to be able to reach this step, he must have suffered a lot and suffered a lot. However, Kang Lin didn't ask anything from the beginning to the end. Sister Lin, since Shusha wants to deal with you, why don't we beat him at his own game? What do you want to do? Humph. First Heavenly Region, Domain Lord Alliance. Shusha, who had received the news, found it hard to believe. He was very clear about the strength of the mother and child ghost. They were almost invincible under the high-level divine emperor realm. Especially in the chaotic star realm, no one could contend against them. Because of this, Shusha couldn't figure out who had killed the mother and child ghost. Could it be that there was a high-level divine emperor realm cultivator helping them? That wasn't very likely. Everyone knew that the chaotic star realm had a restriction on strength. Only cultivators below the divine emperor realm could enter. As for cultivators above the divine emperor realm, they couldn't enter. Otherwise, they would be killed by the chaotic star realm. Why was that? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Of course, Shusha wouldn't give up on such a rare opportunity. Since the other side had lost more than 100 divine kings, he had to seize this opportunity to eliminate Kang Lin in one fell swoop. Thinking of this, Shesha immediately sent out a few hundred divine kings. It was obvious that Shesha was determined to win this time. Chaotic Star Realm. Longao and Kang Lin didn't hide their aura at all. When Shesha's people arrived, they immediately lured everyone into the level 5 peak array that had been set up long ago. They spent an entire half a month to kill all the god kings. In the following time, Xiao He began to use the enormous power to refine the inheritance in his body. According to Xiao He, he could break through to the peak divine king realm if he could completely refine this power. Xiao He entered his chaotic dantian and began to cultivate quietly. Brother Long, divine kings are nothing to Shesha. Let alone losing a few hundred divine kings, even if all the divine kings died, it wouldn't shake his foundation at all. Longao understood what Kang Lin meant. At the end of the day, Kang Lin's heart had softened. Although these divine kings belonged to Shesha, they were still part of the Domain Lord Alliance. Even the Domain Lord Alliance would find it rather difficult to bear the loss of over 500 divine kings. If this continued, who knew how many more divine kings would die? Kang Lin was unwilling to see this continue. Longao nodded helplessly as he felt sorry for Kang Lin. He said, "All right, I promise you. As long as they don't provoke me, I won't take the initiative to kill them." Okay. In the following time, apart from Xiao He refining the power in his body, Longao also began to cultivate crazily, preparing to break through to the mid-level divine king realm. He knew very well that his true enemies were Nangong Yin, master godly mathematician, and the others. Even if he could recover to his peak strength, it would still be very difficult for him to deal with what was about to happen. The only thing he could do now was to raise his strength as quickly as possible. He hoped that he could recover to his peak strength within 10,000 years. Brother Long, after continuously consuming the pills you gave me, I feel that my cultivation is about to break through again. Ah! Even Longao was shocked by Lin's words. Could it be that Lin's talent had been concealed? Otherwise, why would her cultivation begin to weaken after breaking through to the high-level divine king realm in just a few days? P.S. 30 chapters will be released tomorrow. Tonight, it will be released first. Those who have a recommendation vote, please vote for Xiaoju and support Xiaoju. Chapter 3027. Seeing that Sister Lin was preparing to break through once more, Longao was naturally elated. "I'll guard it for you." "Yes." The both of them found an extremely secluded place and Kang Lin immediately went into seclusion to cultivate. Both Little Black and Sister Lin had chosen to go into seclusion, leaving Longao alone. All of a suddenly, Longao raised his head. His eyes shone with a sharp gleam that seemed as though it could pierce through the void. "To think that you would awaken your essence spirit this quickly. Seems like I've underestimated you." A voice boomed out from the void. "Master God Diviner, after 10,000 years, we'll settle the score between us." At the peak of the Chaos Star realm stood a single person. It was none other than the Oracle. Placing his hands behind his back, the Oracle looked down coldly at the figure below and laughed coldly. "Back then, I could destroy you and send you into reincarnation. 10,000 years later, I can do the same. Do you believe me? Ha ha ha. Is that so? I don't really believe you." This was truly a shameless thing. He had seen shameless people before, but this was the first time he had seen someone this shameless. If not for the fact that he was on the verge of breaking through back then, how could the Oracle and the others have succeeded? That was utter bullsh**. T Longao, I can write off the grudges between us. As long as you promise me that you'll help me attain the Tao of Chaos 10,000 years later, I'll do the same for you. How about that? At the end of the day, the Oracle still wanted to attain the Tao of Chaos. "Oracle, do you think that I'll help you?" Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. The Oracle burst out laughing maniacally. His laughter was filled with mockery. "Longao, why do you think I haven't dealt with your family yet?" Family? The moment he heard the words of the Oracle, Longao's heart skipped a beat. "If it were you in the past, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. But in this life, you're different from us. You have feelings, especially family. You've already lost. What do you think? The moment he was done speaking, the oracle had already taken a single step forward and appeared outside the cave. Longao did not say anything, but his face was extremely grim. His family was his weakness. If Master God Diviner really did make a move against his family, then considering how strong he was right now, there was no way he could stand up to him. Don't worry, as long as you're willing to help me, I have no interest in dealing with a bunch of ants. I hope you keep your word. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Master God Diviner laughed maniacally again. 10,000 years. I believe you should know what that means. I hope that you will be able to recover your peak strength after 10,000 years. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. I won't see you out. Goodbye. Chuckling coldly, Master God Diviner turned and left. In the blink of an eye, he was gone. Longao's expression was very ugly. What he was afraid of really happened. Even though he wasn't at his peak, he wasn't afraid of Master God Diviner and the others. After all, as long as they didn't prove the great Tao of primal chaos, they wouldn't be able to do anything to him once he entered his primal chaos Dantian. This was also the reason why Master God Diviner and the others did not dare to strike at him easily. Longao had not expected that Master God Diviner would be this shameless. To think that he would use his family as a hostage. If it were anyone else, it would be fine. But Master God Diviner's status and strength were there for all to see. Rage. Endless rage. However, Longao bore with it. He knew clearly in his heart that he couldn't act rashly at a time like this. There was no way he could help his family right now. If Master God Diviner and the others really wanted to deal with his family, he wouldn't be able to do anything at all. Thankfully, Master God Diviner was wary of him, and did not dare to strike out casually. Gradually, Longao's state of mind calmed down. There was no point in being anxious right now. The most important thing right now was to cultivate. He had to get back to his peak strength in the shortest time possible. Master God Diviner, Nangong Yin, Hao Lin, Duan Hun, and the others were in a completely different situation from him. The path that he had to take was countless times more difficult than the others. However, Longao was confident in his heart. As the saying goes, one can only rise above others after suffering the most hardships. As long as he could overcome the difficulties and continue to improve, there was no doubt that he would be the one with the greatest hope of proving the Tao of Chaos. Longao did not waste any time. He immediately sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. After consuming several elixirs, Longao only spent a few days to raise his cultivation realm from beginner God King to intermediate God King. As for breaking through from intermediate God King to advanced God King, it was still impossible for him to do so in a short period of time. Just as Longao broke through, Kang Lin walked out of the cave. Sister Lin, you broke through? Kang Lin nodded in surprise and said, yes, it's all thanks to you this time. If it wasn't for your elixirs, I'm afraid it wouldn't be easy for me to break through to peak God King. Longao shook his head and said, Sister Lin, it's not like that. Although my elixirs are somewhat useful, it's impossible to break through to advanced God King or even peak God King consecutively in a few days. Sister Lin, with your talent, I'm afraid it's not what I see now. Let me check. If it was anyone else who dared to be so frivolous, Kang Lin would have killed them long ago. Only Longao was different. Their identities had been confirmed, so Kang Lin was only shy for a moment and nodded. Longao seemed to have a guess in his heart, but he was not sure. He released his Yuan spirit and began to slowly penetrate Kang Lin's body, especially her Dantian and Yuan spirit. If it was as he guessed, he would be able to find something from her Yuan spirit or Dantian. But in the end, Longao couldn't find anything out of the ordinary. Could it be that he had guessed it? In Longao's opinion, Sister Lin's heaven-defying talent could only mean one thing if it was forcefully suppressed or even sealed. Sister Lin was very likely the reincarnation of an expert. In the end, he couldn't find anything out of the ordinary. It seemed like he had guessed wrongly. Just as Longao was about to withdraw the power of his Yuan spirit, he suddenly realized that Sister Lin's bloodline was very strange. Her expression was very ugly. Brother Long, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with my body? He shook his head and then nodded. Seeing Brother Long's expression, Kang Lin could obviously sense that there was something wrong with her body. But since he wasn't willing to talk about it, she didn't know how to ask. Sister Lin, I'm going to check your bloodline properly. If there's any accident, don't resist. Chapter 3028. He nodded. Although she didn't know what Brother Long meant, Kang Lin still chose to believe him unconditionally. Don't worry. I won't. Of course, Longao wasn't worried at all. Without hesitation, Longao continued to release his primordial spirit into Sister Lin's body. His expression became more and more unsightly, more and more gloomy. An hour later, retracting his primordial spirit, Longao sighed deeply. Brother Long, what's going on? Sister Lin, if I'm not mistaken, you probably don't know about this. What's the matter? Kang Lin became more and more curious. She didn't know what kind of riddle Brother Long and her were playing. Should he say it? As if she could guess what Brother Long was thinking, Kang Lin immediately said, Brother Long, since this matter is related to me, please tell me. He sighed deeply again. Sister Lin, I never expected that the bloodline in your body would come from Ju Ying. Ju Ying? What was a Ju Ying? Kang Lin's face was blank. She didn't know what the so-called Ju Ying was. She asked casually, Brother Long, what exactly is a Ju Ying? Originally, Longao did not want to say much. After all, matters regarding Ju Ying were too distant for most people. However, now that Sister Lin's bloodline was related to Ju Ying, it seemed like things were not as simple as they seemed. Sister Lin, have you heard that there are a total of 10 Chaos Divine Beasts in the Chaos Realm? They are the most powerful beings standing at the peak of all the Divine Beasts. Kang Lin shook her head and said, I've never heard of them. There are a total of 10 Chaos Divine Beasts in the Primal Chaos Realm. They are the Heaven-Swallowing Beast, Nine-Headed Infant, Juin, Pishio, Chonyo, Swanni, Heaven-Splitter Beast, Golden Swanni, Nine-Headed Dragon Python, and Daotai. Blackie is one of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, the Heaven-Swallowing Beast. Its name is Di Tian. Longao was no longer who he used to be. Naturally, he knew a lot of things, including the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. The Nine-Headed Snakelet was one of the 10 great chaotic divine beasts. Its strength was not much weaker than Blackie's. Back then, Ju Ying had perished for no reason. No one knew the reason. That was indeed the case. Longao had never imagined that Sister Lin's bloodline would be related to Ju Ying. If it were anyone else, they would definitely not be able to recognize him. However, he had crossed paths with Ju Ying many times in the past. Until now, he still did not know whether Ju Ying was a friend or foe. Longao told Lin Lin about his guess. After that, he continued, Sister Lin, this is no small matter. Don't tell anyone. I'll see what I can do. What Longao was most worried about was if Ju Ying wanted to seize his soul and be reborn, then Sister Lin would be in big trouble. Kang Lin also knew the seriousness of the matter and didn't dare to be careless. Yes, I understand. The thought of Sister Lin having the 9 infants' bloodline in her made Longao even more frustrated. What was going on? In the Primal Chaos Realm, there were a total of 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. Their strength was comparable to Master Godly Mathematician, and some were even stronger than Nangong Yin and the others. Heaven-Devouring Beast, Nine-Headed Infant, Juin, Pishio, Chonyo, Swanni, Heaven Splitter, Golden Swanni, Nine-Headed Dragon Python, and Daotai. Blackie had many enemies. You could say that. Most of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were enemies. Among the other 9 chaotic mythical beasts, only Ju Ying was on good terms with Blackie. However, it was impossible to judge a book by its cover. Who knew what was going on with Ju Ying, especially when Sister Lin was implicated in this matter? The more he thought about it, the more frustrated he became. The more he thought about it, the more helpless he felt. In the end, his strength couldn't recover to its peak. If he could reach the chaotic reincarnation realm, even if Ju Ying wanted to do something to Sister Lin, he could forcefully suppress it. But now, the situation was completely different. If Ju Ying really wanted to do something, there was nothing he could do. It was a helpless matter. As Blackie broke through, he walked out of his chaotic dantian. As soon as he left, Blackie found that something was wrong. He asked curiously, Boss, What's going on? Longao and Blackie thought it through and said helplessly, this is big trouble. Longao didn't hide anything from Blackie. He told him everything that had happened. Zhu Ying, one of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. Blackie was shocked as well. Of course, he knew what it meant to be one of the top 10 chaotic divine beasts. Although Zhu Ying had yet to awaken his primordial spirit, it was easy to imagine how strong Zhu Ying was to be ranked among the top 10 chaotic divine beasts. Boss, are you worried that Zhu Ying will do something to Sister Lin? Yes. Although you have a good relationship with Zhu Ying, there's something wrong. Back then, Zhu Ying disappeared for no reason. No one knew where he went. Now, Sister Lin's bloodline is related to Zhu Ying. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling. This bad feeling was getting stronger. However, with his current strength, he couldn't do anything. If he acted rashly, he might alert the enemy. Then, it would be even more troublesome. Blackie could clearly feel the helplessness and anger in his boss's heart. He thought for a while and said, Boss, why don't we wait and see how Sister Lin's bloodline will develop? Then, we can make a plan. Since things had come to this, it was useless to be anxious, angry, or helpless. Longao could only nod helplessly and said, since things have come to this, we can only do so. However, I have to watch over her at all times. You and I both know what Zhu Ying means. If we neglect her, the consequences will be unimaginable. Blackie didn't say anything else. He hadn't awakened his primordial spirit and didn't know much about Zhu Ying. Therefore, he didn't know how to help his boss in this situation. Ever since the incident with Zhu Ying, Longao didn't seem to be in the mood to continue training. Kang Lin didn't care and said, Brother Long, we can't avoid it. Let's settle the matter at hand first. As for my bloodline, I believe there won't be any problems for now. What do you think? Kang Lin didn't care, but that didn't mean Longao didn't care. However, in order to reassure Sister Lin, Longao smiled and said, Sister Lin is right. We'll deal with whatever comes our way. Things haven't reached a point of no return yet. As for whether it's good or bad, it's still unknown. That's right. Let's continue training. I have a feeling that after meeting you, my cultivation speed has increased countless times. The peak Divine King realm that I just broke through seems to be loosening up again. I believe it won't be long before I can break through to the Divine Emperor realm. Ah! Longao was shocked. However, after thinking about it, he understood. Chapter 3029. 9 Infants' Bloodline. There was no doubt that Sister Lin's rapid breakthrough had something to do with her bloodline. However, Longao could not figure it out. Previously, Sister Lin's cultivation speed was not very fast. However, after meeting him, she seemed to have become very abnormal. Could it be related to him? He did not know why. Longao always had a bad feeling in his heart. He felt helpless. Since things had come to this, he could only take one step at a time. Elsewhere in the chaotic star domain, Nangong Fengyun's face was very gloomy. He did not enter the chaotic star domain to train. His main purpose was to kill Divine King experts and absorb their primordial spirit energy. Now, he was like a stray dog. If he dared to kill martial artists openly and absorb their primordial spirits, he would definitely be hunted down by the Pill Hall. Only in the chaotic star domain. Here, no matter how he killed, no one would dare to stop him. Nangong Fengyun was very confident that he could sweep the entire chaotic star domain with his strength. He could kill a beginner Divine Emperor. He was probably the strongest existence under the Divine Emperor realm. Longao, you dare to kill my son. When I break through to the Divine Emperor realm, it will be the day of your death. Nangong Fengyun was very angry as he released a terrifying killing intent. He and Chen were the Domain Lord and the City Lord respectively. They could do whatever they wanted in the Blackstone domain. However, what happened in the end? It was all because of Longao, who came out of nowhere and ruined their reputation. Even his son was killed. How could he not be angry? Longao's face was solemn and his heart was filled with irritation. For a moment, he did not know what to do. Brother Long, what's wrong? I'm fine. Longao was helpless. However, He knew that no matter how irritable and anxious he was, it would not help. Sister Lin's cultivation seemed to be loosening. He believed that she would break through to the divine emperor realm in the future. If it was before, the faster Sister Lin improved, the happier and more excited he would be. However, the situation was different now. The faster Sister Lin's cultivation improved, the more it was related to the 9 infants' bloodline in her body. What if? Longao did not dare to continue thinking about it, especially at this time when his cultivation had not yet recovered to its peak. Brother Long, I'm preparing to return to the Domain Lord Alliance. Can you come back with me? What happened? Longao was very curious. He didn't know why Sister Lin would return to the Domain Lord's Alliance for no reason. Big Sister Lin, what happened? Longao would definitely not be willing to return to the Domain Lord's Alliance with Big Sister Lin. Now was not the time. Kang Lin looked worried. Brother Long, there's something you don't know. For sure to attack me with such fanfare, it can only mean one thing. Sure can't hold back anymore. So that was the case. Longao understood what Sister Lin meant. She was worried that his father would be attacked and betrayed by Sure. If it had been any other time, Longao might have refused. After all, Sister Lin had returned to the Zone Master's face, which was a lot safer. However, this was definitely not the case now. He still had not figured out what was going on with the 9-headed snakelet bloodline. After thinking about it, Longao nodded without hesitation and said, "In that case, I'll accompany you back to the Domain Lord's Alliance." He was overjoyed. He left as soon as he said so. However, just as Longao and the other 2 were about to leave the chaotic star domain, they suddenly met someone. Enemies often cross paths. Longao was extremely excited. He was originally looking for Nangong Fengyun, but he did not expect to meet him at this time. Nangong Fengyun, long time no see. How have you been? Nangong Fengyun, who had just refined his primordial spirit and was about to continue killing martial artists to absorb their primordial spirits, suddenly saw the 3 of them. Suddenly looking at the 3 people who appeared in front of him, he instantly became furious and directly smashed a fist towards Longao. He didn't even waste any time talking. When enemies met, their eyes blazed with hatred. Longao snorted coldly. The current Longao was no longer the same as before. He didn't even need to attack. He directly released a formation and enveloped the other party. A level 5 formation? Nangong Fengyun's expression changed when he sensed that he had entered a formation. He obviously knew what a level 5 formation meant. Nangong Fengyun did not dare to be careless and began to attack the formation madly. "Boss, let me in and devour him." A level 5 formation was not enough to kill Nangong Fengyun. However, Little Black was no longer the same Little Black as before. As his cultivation had reached the peak Divine King realm, Little Black could even devour beginner Divine Emperors. Devouring Nangong Fengyun was a piece of cake. Kang Lin already knew about the grudge between Longao and Nangong Fengyun and sighed. A person who had just stepped into the Chaos Realm could actually destroy a Domain Lord. Now that she thought about it, she felt that it was inconceivable. "Brother Long, you know Han Yin from the Pill Hall? Sister Han helped me before. If it wasn't for her, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to destroy the Black Rock City." This was the truth. Back then, Han Yin had suddenly appeared and suppressed Nangong Fengyun. Kang Lin did not say much. Nangong Fengyun was no longer a threat to the current Longao. With Little Black's help, Nangong Fengyun was completely devoured in a few minutes. Until the moment of his death, Nangong Fengyun had never thought that he would die in the hands of a level 5 spiritual beast. If someone had told him this before, he would definitely not have believed it. If he had known that he would die, he would not have attacked immediately. He would have turned around and fled. There was no medicine for regret in this world. Henceforth, Nangong Fengyun and Nangong Chen had both fallen. The next thing was to wait for the Domain Lord's Alliance to arrange a new Domain Lord and City Lord for the Black Rock City. If it was someone else, they would have to form a team to leave the chaotic star domain. Otherwise, even if they could leave alive, they would most likely die. No one would be willing to joke around with their life. However, Longao's situation was clearly different. After letting Little Black and Kang Lin enter his chaotic dantian, he immediately left the chaotic star domain without any hesitation. Crystal stones were nothing to Longao and Kang Lin. Especially with Kang Lin's identity, using the teleportation formation was something that could be done in a matter of minutes. Therefore, the two of them took the teleportation formation continuously and smoothly arrived at the first heavenly domain in just a day. It was worthy of being the first heaven in the chaotic realm. There were as many experts as there were hairs on an ox. Not to mention over gods and divine kings, even divine emperors were everywhere. No one dared to act presumptuously here because no one knew when their luck was bad and they would meet a tough opponent. At that time, they wouldn't even know how they died. Chapter 30. Domain Lords Alliance. Receiving the news of Kang Lin's successful return, Shi was simply furious to the extreme. He had lost hundreds of god kings, including the mother and child ghost, but he had failed to kill Kang Lin. Now that Kang Lin had returned to the alliance, it would be difficult for him to attack again. No matter how arrogant he was and how much he looked down on the alliance leader, Kang Hao was still the alliance leader. It wasn't time to fall out with him yet. Longao was arranged to stay in a courtyard. After all, the alliance leader wasn't someone one could meet easily. He didn't care at all. In the courtyard. After Kang Lin left, Longao's face gradually darkened. What is Ju Ying trying to do? It would be fine if it was someone else, but nothing could happen to Sister Lin. Boss, why don't we? What are you trying to say? Boss, since you're so worried about Sister Lin, why don't we ask Nangong Yin and the others to help first? Regarding Blackie's meaning, Longao already roughly understood. It was still the same sentence. Although he had awakened his primordial spirit, he hadn't truly recovered his strength. It was almost impossible for him to help Sister Lin get rid of any future troubles. Nangong Yin and the others were completely different. Due to some special reason, not only had they awakened their primordial spirits, they had also recovered some of their strength. However, if Nangong Yin and the others helped, Sister Lin would probably be in trouble. We can't do that. Blackie shrugged helplessly. This was the only way he could think of. He couldn't think of any other way. Sitting quietly in the courtyard, Longao's face grew more and more solemn and ugly. The 10 chaos divine beasts were all heaven-defying existences. The heaven-swallowing beast, Ju Ying, Juin, Pishio, Chonyo, Swanni, Heaven Splitter, Golden Swanni, 9-headed dragon python, and Dao Tai. Ju Ying was considered both good and evil. In the study. Lin, don't be rash next time. You're lucky to be able to return safely. Kang Lin had told Kang how everything that had happened in the chaotic star realm, including how the mother and child ghost attacked. Father, if Shi insists on dealing with me, I won't be able to avoid it even if I stay in the alliance. How could Kang Hao not know? Shi could no longer hold himself back. Otherwise, he would not have done this again and again. He sighed deeply in his heart. Father, could it be that we really can't deal with Shi? No. If it was possible, Kang Hao would have made his move long ago. Why would he wait until now? After so many years of hiding, Shi's forces had already developed to a certain extent. If he rashly made a move, it was easy to imagine what the consequences would be. Once both sides were injured, others would take advantage of the situation. Father, if grandfather is willing to come out of seclusion, it would be a simple matter to destroy Shi. He waved his hand. Your grandfather has already reached the crucial point of his breakthrough. If he can successfully advance, our Domain Lords Alliance will be able to surpass the Pill Hall, Devil Palace and other forces. Therefore, no matter what happens, you are not allowed to disturb your grandfather's cultivation. Kang Lin felt very helpless. Countless years ago, ever since her grandfather entered closed-door cultivation, everyone in the Chaos realm thought that her grandfather was dead. They never imagined that her grandfather chose to enter closed-door cultivation in order to find an opportunity to break through. Moreover, it was a closed-door cultivation. Of course, she knew that her grandfather must have reached the crucial point of his breakthrough. If they were to disturb him at this time, all his previous efforts would be wasted. After a deep sigh, Kang Lin said helplessly, Father, we can't go on like this. Shi is getting more and more out of hand. If he makes a move first, we will be in a passive position. How could Kang Hao not know his daughter's worries? Kang Hao smiled and said, Shi doesn't dare. Looking at her father's confident face, Kang Lin could not understand why her father was so confident. As if he could guess Kang Lin's thoughts, Kang Hao said with a smile, Shi is not a fool. Without full confidence, he will not casually make a move. Moreover, I have a trump card. I see. Kang Lin didn't continue asking because she knew very well that if her father was willing to tell her, he would tell her even if she didn't ask. If her father wasn't willing to tell her, then even if she asked, it would be a waste of time. Lin, is the person you brought back called Longao? Yes. Father, you know him? Kang Lin was very curious. She could almost say that her father and Longao had never met before. If that was the case, how did her father know about Brother Long? One had to know that Brother Long had ascended to the chaotic realm for less than a few decades. He had spent most of his time cultivating. Especially her father, who was the high and mighty alliance leader of the Domain Lords Alliance. You might not know about Longao. I will tell you now. Kang Hao told Lin everything he knew about Longao. Even Kang Hao found it hard to believe that a kid who had just ascended to the chaotic realm had not only grown to the strength of a divine king, but also became an array master and an alchemist in just a few decades. He had even done such an earth-shattering thing. Even Kang Hao found it hard to believe. After hearing her father's words, Kang Lin sighed. She was extremely shocked. It was hard to imagine how many life and death situations Brother Long had encountered since he entered the chaotic realm. It was already a miracle that he did not die. However, now that Brother Long had offended Yi Detian and Ji Hao, it was obvious what that meant. Under such circumstances, it would be a lie to say that she was not worried. If it was anyone else, it would be fine. Only Ji Hao and Yi Detian were extremely troublesome existences. Father, no matter what, you have to help Brother Long. Kang Hao suddenly smiled and said, it seems like my precious daughter is sincere this time. It's just that Longao caused trouble. Forget it, this child's talent and potential are not bad. I will help him. Kang Lin was overjoyed after receiving her father's affirmation. As long as her father was willing to help Brother Long, even Ji Hao and Yi Detian would not dare to be impudent. Lin, rumor has it that Longao has fallen because he burned his origin spirit, so Yi Detian still does not know that Yi Mo was killed by Longao. Go back and tell Longao not to reveal his identity unless it is absolutely necessary. Father, I understand. Kang Lin also knew the seriousness of the matter. She did not dare to hesitate and immediately turned to leave. Although she had her father's help, Ji Hao and Yi Detian could not be underestimated. Who knew if the two of them would attack without regard for their lives? Chapter 30-31. In the courtyard. Brother Long, you must remember what I said just now. Longao knew that Sister Lin was worried about him. He nodded with a smile and said, I understand. Don't leave the Domain Lords Alliance for the time being. I have something to do now. I'll look for you later. Okay. After Kang Lin left, Longao's face instantly turned serious. He would not be able to rest until the matter of the 9 infants' bloodline was resolved. Bloodline? Longao had no choice but to look for Lin's father, Kang Hao, the alliance leader of the Domain Lords Alliance, to find out what was going on. Alliance leader, Longao would like to see you. Let him in. Kang Hao did not seem surprised at all. He had already guessed that Longao would come looking for him. In the study room. You're not bad. Longao had just entered the study when he heard Kang Hao's brainless words. He didn't take it to heart. Instead, he said, Alliance Master, I'm looking for you this time mainly to ask about Sister Lin. Since you're Lin's friend, if you don't mind, you can call me Uncle Kang. Since Kang Hao had already said so, Longao did not insist on it. Uncle Kang, I want to ask if you found anything wrong with the bloodline in Lin's body. Kang Hao's face changed when he heard Longao's words. He asked in shock, you know about it? Just as expected. Longao had already guessed that Kang Hao should know about the bloodline in Lin's body. Otherwise, if it was just the bloodline of the 9 infants, how could it have found Sister Lin? It was too coincidental. I want to know what's going on. Kang Hao's face changed again. He never expected that someone would know about Lin Er's bloodline. He sighed deeply. Since you've already found out that something is wrong, I won't hide it from you anymore. I just hope that you won't tell anyone about it. Please tell me, Uncle Kang. Longao was very impatient, because only by knowing what was going on could he think of a way to deal with it. Many years ago, my father, who is also Kang Lin's grandfather, accidentally obtained a drop of blood. A drop of blood from the Chaos Divine Beast Ju Ying. You know about the Chaos Divine Beast Ju Ying? Longao was very surprised because the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts were not known to ordinary martial artists. Kang Hao nodded and said, of course I know. The 10 divine beasts of chaos are the sky-swallowing beast, 9-headed snakelet, Juin, Pishio, Chonyo, Swanni, Sky Splitter, Golden Swanni, 9-headed dragon python, and Daotai. Thinking about it, he felt relieved. Kang Hao was the leader of the Domain Lords Alliance, so it was reasonable for him to know about the 10 divine beasts of chaos. When we first obtained this drop of blood, we forcefully sealed it in Lin Er's body. Without waiting for Kang Hao to continue, Longao already understood the meaning behind it. He sighed deeply in his heart. He felt helpless. He was too concerned. The two of them might have done it for the good of Sister Lin, but they did not expect that by doing so, not only would it not benefit Sister Lin, but it might even harm her. Longao, tell me, how did you recognize the 9-headed snakelet's bloodline? Kang Hao was not a fool. Since the other party could detect the abnormality of the bloodline in Lin Er's body, it meant that the other party must have recognized the origin of the bloodline. He was very curious and did not know what was going on. Uncle Kang, if I'm not wrong, when the bloodline completely fuses with Sister Lin's blood, Sister Lin will truly fall. Ah! Kang Hao stood up immediately with a shocked face. He immediately asked, what is going on? The 9-headed snakelet has already fallen and its whereabouts are still unknown. However, the 9-headed snakelet's bloodline that you obtained was able to fuse with Sister Lin's body. You have never thought of this before. Isn't there something fishy about this? Kang Hao's face became gloomier as if he had guessed something. Is there a way to solve this? Kang Hao did not have any doubts. He knew very well that Longao would not have any other thoughts about his daughter. Since the other party could detect the 9-headed snakelet's bloodline in Sister Lin's body, it seemed that there was something fishy going on. Previously, he and his father only wanted to leave the best for Lin Er. However, they did not expect that this would bring endless trouble to Lin Er, even to the point of death. I haven't thought of a way yet, but we need to work together. Otherwise. At this point, Longao did not continue. However, the meaning of his words was clear. Kang Hao nodded and said, I understand. You just need to inform me of what you need to do. As long as you can help Lin Er break free from the 9-headed snakelet's bloodline, I will do my best to help you. Okay. Kang Lin did not know that Longao and Kang Hao had met. Neither of them told Kang Lin about this. Unless they could think of a way, it would be pointless to tell her. Longao did not cultivate. Instead, he began to think of a way to help Sister Lin purge the 9-headed snakelet's bloodline. Xiao He had not awakened his soul yet. If Xiao He could awaken his soul, he might be able to help Sister Lin with his legacy. After all, Xiao He was a heaven-devouring beast. He was one of the 10 divine beasts of chaos along with the 9-headed snakelet. Xiao He, how can I help you awaken your soul quickly? How could Xiao He not understand what his boss meant? After thinking about it, he said, Boss, under normal circumstances, I can only awaken my soul by refining the legacy. However, that's just too difficult. Who knows when I'll be able to do it? However, there's another way, but it's a little too risky. Tell me about it. Longao immediately rejoiced inside when he heard Xiao He's words. No matter how great of a price he had to pay, as long as Xiao He could awaken his soul, it would be extremely beneficial for both Xiao He and Sister Lin. Boss, I've actually never told you about this. Ever since I broke through to God King, a place appeared in my head. If nothing goes wrong, I should be able to successfully awaken my soul as long as I go there. When Longao died, he and the heaven-devouring beast had set up their own plans, so he knew nothing about the heaven-devouring beast's plans. Do you know where that place is? Longao obviously knew what Xiao He meant. If nothing went wrong, the place Xiao He mentioned should be where Xiao He would awaken his soul. He would be lying if he said he was not pleasantly surprised. He was rather eager. I don't know where that place is either. I only know the name of the place, the Chaotic Mountains. The Chaotic Mountains? What was that place? Even Longao had never heard of this place. Although he had already awakened his primordial spirit, many things were still forcibly sealed. As his strength continued to increase, these things would slowly come out. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.